And we are back, and better than, well, we're never very good, but we're back. We took some time off, did some fundraising for Black Lives Matter. Thank you to everybody who got involved in that. It's amazing. Thank you to all the drivers. Thank you to all the ride-along people. That's huge. Derek Bianski, Breaking, FDs, cool styling, out of Indiana. I figured he'd be a good person to have on here because, you know, tired of all these S chassis drivers. Anyway, check this one out. It's a good one, I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like, I think it's one of those things too where like at this level, like you become like almost like a certain amount of nerdiness like to it because like I'm like you're saying, like interested in people's like story and like why they decided to get into this and like this where it goes from there. It's so similar in some ways and so different.
Yeah, like how did you get to this level, right? Like how did you get to this level where it's like you're pretty much dedicated your life to it at this point, but like not completely, but
Within reason.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely people more than others, but there's like there's a certain threshold where you get above that, and you're like, all right, we're all in on this. Like,
For
you
sure.
know, more
For
than
sure.
one car, one really serious car.
Right.
Yeah.
Like how many cars can you fit in your space, and like a lot of that stuff like dictates whether like you should get another or not, or sell some
Oh,
things.
I'm there. I'm like, I have way too many things for where I live. It's very silly.
See,
But,
that's
you
why
know,
it's like great here because it's like room's like kind of plentiful, so like you can end up with a lot of stuff, good or bad. So
I'm envious. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm like down. I'm like getting rid of stuff, so I'm like trying to be more focused and kind of go that route. So
It helps. We got like my girlfriend and I got a project car together, and it's like it's sick when we're driving it around. But then it's like, all right, well that's like one less parking spot. I gotta park the truck on the street. Okay, oh, street cleaning today. Like you're just like, you know, it's just that like one more thing you got to worry about. And as like when you like downsize, you kind of have like less shit you got to worry about. So it's trying to find that balance, you know. I
yeah,
don't know.
that's like California struggles as well. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I'm not real familiar. Like my little brother lived out there for a while, or he was like stationed out there, so I like kind of get it, just like through association with him and everything, and going out and hanging out. But as far as like here, it's like if you have like land or like parking or whatever, like it's just like how much stuff do you want to deal with or try to work on?
How many cars do you want to attempt to maintain?
Yeah, exactly. Before you want to just pull all of your hair out or just like start
Yeah.
losing sleep over it.
Yeah, Brandon Strong has like 5 cars or something. I'm like, oh man,
See, that
I
gives
don't.
me anxiety.
Yeah, and they're all like pretty nice too. Like he does like a good job on all of them. I'm like, I couldn't hang.
See, that's all that I have like so much respect for that. Like when people can like maintain multiple vehicles and like not like slack on them, because it'll be like I'm all about like I'll get it tomorrow. Like, you
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
It's raining outside right now, even though I would be working in my garage, but like I just don't feel like messing with it. Like
I'm not,
some arbitrary excuse.
I'm definitely not the most dedicated on the team. I'll just say that. Like if it's nice out and you know my girl and her friends are going to the park, like I'm going to the park. You know,
Right.
like I'm not going to the shop,
Right.
but I will go to the shop a lot of weekends.
No,
I
I
don't
feel
know.
you. I feel like I'm like mine's like kind of like in waves. Like especially when I know like if there's something that's like coming up soon, then of course there's like that mad scramble. But like I try to plan ahead before that, but sometimes it just doesn't work, and I'm just like, whatever. I'm gonna go like skate or go do something that I would much rather do than get like frustrated potentially like working on my car.
Were you always like mechanically inclined, or did you?
Like I don't think so. Like I feel like a lot of my friends, I think like a lot of my friends are like like pretty talented. Like not a lot of them, but some of them are like pretty talented mechanics. Like I thought I was good for a long time. I'm like, oh, I've pulled motors, like done stuff, like built a couple motors. Most of them haven't really turned out all that well, but like, but like no, like no formal training or anything like that. Like just pretty much like tear it apart and like, I don't know, get back after it and see if it works once I put it back together. But like, I don't know, definitely trial and error mostly.
Did you learn because of drifting, or were you just like into cars always?
So definitely not always. Like, I mean, like growing up, my grandma was like a big advocate of automotive stuff, which is kind of wild.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sick.
So like I remember for like birthdays and Christmases, like we would get like VHS tapes of like monster trucks or like drag like just like weird off the wall like VHS. Yeah. Gravedigger, like
Hell yeah.
American Icon. Like
Yep. Dude, this is autographed.
that's so
I
sick.
got this when I was like, dude, I was hardcore into monster trucks when I was a kid. That was like the only thing that would shut me up was the Gravedigger DVD or the VHS tape.
Yeah, man, like for sure. So like so there was a little bit of that, and then like once I got into like college and like kind of had a little bit of money, uh I was like real into like street racing. Like that was a real big thing like
Hmm.
in like our area. So drifting came after. So I did like a little bit of work on stuff like for drag racing or street racing stuff or whatever you want to call it. And then like drifting made me like have to like really get after stuff, like start like taking apart diffs and like doing stuff that like at first I was not comfortable doing at all.
Yeah, you're like, I don't have money to pay someone to do this, but I'm not gonna stop doing this because I can't do it.
For
Yeah, I'm
sure,
not gonna
yeah.
stop drifting because I
It
can't
was
do this
yeah,
thing.
it was like like end to an or a means to an end. Like it's like it's gonna cost X amount of dollars if I try to pay somebody else, and that's like an event fee or tires or like potentially like another part that could help. So like yeah, I'm just gonna like learn, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the same with all of us. Do you so when you started getting into drifting, was it like how did you find that from street racing? Like what was like the bridge or the
So like the street racing thing, like drag thing, was like it ended up being one of those like how much money are you willing to spend? Like, and that's how I saw it. I was just like, man, this dude has a lot of money in this, and that's why he's beating me. Like, it could have
yeah.
been my skill set, but like, but like, I don't know. I guess I just kind of grew like, I don't know, kind of tired of it, really. And then through friends, really like, I actually met Derek King through like a night we were all like street racing and stuff. And after that, um, I knew he was pretty much the only person in the like our city that was into drifting, and I was like, I want to talk to this dude some more and like kind of like figure this stuff out because I was interested in it from like before then. So like I knew it existed. I just didn't have like a path to like know that there was events or if like there was just street stuff. Like I just didn't know how to like go about it.
So there was like this like allure. It was kind of hard to find
Yeah, yeah.
this like cool subculture. What year was that?
So like I met him, I don't know, probably like 2007 or 8, but like before then, like in like '05, I went to Chicago for like the first round of Formula D, and
Whoa, okay.
so that was like really cool, but it was so like unobtainable. It was
Hmm.
like these like really cool cars, like it was just something I had never seen other than like on TV because like G4, like
Yeah.
they were
Oh,
like
dude, I forgot it was on G4.
yeah, so that was like a big thing at the time, and like before then, like I think just like video games, like Gran Turismo was like popular when I was younger, and like
Yep.
the Ukes. I remember like there was like a what do you call it? Like a used like video game place that we had in town, and I
Yeah.
went there and tried to get like the Ukes D1 GP game, and they had like no idea what I was talking about.
They're like
So
that doesn't exist,
yeah,
kid.
so like they ended up looking it up and I ordered it. So they like ordered it for me and like I don't know, at that time like I wasn't really ordering anything.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I was going online and just it was like a neat thing to get for my PlayStation or whatever. So like um sorry the cat just like ran through.
It's cool.
So yeah, so like pretty much meeting up with like Derek and just like being like, hey, so there's this event, Drift Indy. So like us being in Indiana, like they have these events and you should come. Like it'll be a good time. So like pretty much, I think I had a car at that time. I had like a like SRS 13
Sick.
that like I picked up because I wanted to like start getting into drifting because I was interested in it. But like it was like, welded diff coils, like the real simple, like basic stuff.
That's it.
And yeah, absolutely. That, and I got it for like a crazy good deal. So like at the time, like, so I wanted to get like a really like nice car for like the whole street racing thing at first. And then I was kind of like in between that and getting like an S13 to drift. So I ended up like running into like a friend, and it had I think it was a blown head gasket or something, and I just like
Mhm.
was kind of joking around and was like, "Hey, do you want to sell it?" And he was like, "Really?" And I was like, kinda." So like I think a couple months later, he ended up like posting it on like Craigslist or something. I don't even know what was popular at the time. Maybe like Auto Trader, like who knows? Like, so I went over and ended up getting it. It was like $2,500 for an already like SR swapped S13. So
Wow.
like that was like, I mean, in 2008, like
Whoa.
so
Okay.
so it like I don't know, it seemed like a cool deal, but at the same time, like I remember I didn't even drive it home actually. My brother drove it home. I followed him in my like in the car, like my cool car at the time, like
What
which
was
was
that?
it wasn't any, it was a Volkswagen Golf, so dorky. Like so like I guess that's where a little bit of like the mechanical like stuff came. Like I turboed that because it was like an NA car, so I put like a turbo, and it was like a kit, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
my like getting my toes wet or whatever. So I remember anyways like following my brother home and being like, what did I just buy? Like it was just like couple different color like S13. It wasn't terrible, like especially by like today's standards, but like driving behind it, I was like, man, I might have made a mistake. Like, but once we like started to like, I don't know, wrench on it a little bit, because my brother helped me like a lot, definitely, especially like during that time. We definitely spent a lot of time in the garage together, so that's kind of cool. But like,
That's sick. So you just bought this car and then rolled it out to Drift Indy, like
yeah, I mean,
based on
pretty,
some duty met street racing.
yeah, totally. Like,
That's always how it
um,
goes. So sick.
it was
You're like,
so
what's the worst that could happen?
yeah, absolutely. Well, like so, like I had to get a helmet, like all the things. Like I had no idea what was going on. Like we would like drive it around where we were from, and like do some street drifting, which that's not what it was. It was us like spinning out on a corner or whatever, but being like hyped about it anyways. And so like I go to like my first event and like get a helmet, and I just remember being on like this track and being so intimidated. It was like this big track with big banks on it and huge concrete walls. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like just being super like afraid of what was going on. So, but it ended up being like just so much fun. Like it went pretty well. Like I think by the end of the day, I was like linking the course, which was amazing by like what I thought I was going to be able to do.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, so it was a really good time though. Like to think that randomly just meeting up with somebody like through street racing, and then like him kind of guiding me to like do this thing, because he was definitely like, hey, this is when it's going down. You need to have your shit ready by this time. We're
damn.
leaving at this time in the morning. Like, let's go. It's going to be fun.
It's like you
I was
better
like,
be there, man. It's gonna be sick. You're like,
yeah,
all right,
pretty
I
much.
guess.
I think it was like you have this opportunity, so like make the most of it. Like I think that's kind of how I am anyways. It's like, okay, like if this is what we're gonna do, let's do it. Like there's
Yeah,
been too many times where I like haven't taken advantage or like really gone into a situation where like if I just would have went for it, I would have enjoyed it so much more, rather than being like hesitant or like being self-conscious and being like, oh man, I don't know if I can do that.
that's sick, man. Like first drift event, you went out and just ripped, and no, we're able to link the course and like not major mechanical problems. I'd probably be in it for life after that too.
It was like very lucky. I definitely spent like the first probably half or three-quarter of the day spinning out like every time. Like don't get me wrong, and it was like on the infield. Like I wasn't like dive bombing in this like huge bank or anything cool. So like I definitely probably made it sound way cooler than it was, but I was pretty hype on the day.
How did the whole like team dynamic come into play? Like was did drifting like so I know there's drifting in Indiana. I don't know if I've ever been to Indiana. Like
That's fair. That's fair.
I've flown
um,
over it, I'm sure.
right.
But
Um, so like as far as like drifting, like Drift Indy was like a big part of it, and then I would say maybe the team aspect was something that like Club FR probably pushed a little bit more with like
mm,
some of the final bout stuff. Like
did you guys
um,
make the trip to Chicago quite a bit? Like how far is that for you?
so it's like right around like 3 hours to Chicago, but like to like US Air, it's like six.
6.
So like in for most of the time we just street drive our cars up there. Like we would tow sometimes. So like it's well like so I got burnt like one time going down to Nashville, like 7 hours away, and like I couldn't drive my car home because I like toasted the ECU. So like
Oh,
that was kind of a bummer. So like anything over like 7 hours, like I tow now.
yeah.
So like
That's
it's like an arbitrary rule, but like because we like I don't know enjoy street driving. That's kind of part of the adventure, I think.
I wish California was as cool as some of these other states as far as the emission stuff. Like they just make it impossible for us.
We can do anything. It's crazy. Like like anything you want to put on the street. Like you
Must be
really
nice. Must be
yeah.
nice.
So, but okay, so part of the, like the team thing, I think a lot of it comes from just like watching like Dorits and stuff and like option
Yeah.
videos, like kind of the typical thing. Like
You're like,
you would
oh, these
see,
guys are all crazy together. Like I like their like little dumb intros and
yeah, yeah,
put some
absolutely,
personality behind it.
for sure. So like, most of us were already driving together. So like we were just like, hey, we're already at all of these events together, and then usually we like hang out after anyways. So like
Yeah.
it'd be cool to just like I don't know paint our cars the same color and just like kind of represent each other and I don't know see what'll happen I guess.
Who picked the color scheme? It's pretty like iconic. I really
Uh,
like it.
so it's really funny. I not funny maybe random but so my car was actually already painted blue. So it wasn't even like a choice, which is weird. And it's Subaru World Rally Blue.
Sick.
So like we would get like kind of some shade from like Subi dudes sometimes, like
Shout out Colin McRae, dude.
right? For real, Sega
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
So
it's kind of similar. Like, I know that the color, like, he has like his like number colors aren't exactly that like neon orange, but it's or neon green, but it's similar.
yeah, like the stars and the things or whatever. Yeah,
Okay,
like and
okay.
that wasn't even really something that like was intentional. So
It just kind of happened.
well, yeah, the car.
That's
So my car was blue when I bought it, and I ended up actually buying it from a friend that was like, it was just sitting in his like garage, and he didn't ever drive it. And I was just kind of like, "Yo, what's going on with the RX-7, man?" And he was like, "I was thinking about parting it out or selling it." I was like, "Don't part it out. Like, I want to buy it if you're into that." And he was like,
yeah,
"I would love for you to buy it. Like, you'd use it." And I was like, "You'd be cool
yeah.
with me using it?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, that'd be great." So so yeah, it was already blue, and I actually thought about changing the color like instantly because I didn't really like the blue.
Mm,
So and then the yellow wheels were just like something that was bought, and it was kind of like something that like we figured would look pretty like amazing on like or at least pretty cool on track, like high
yeah,
contrast,
yeah. It
like
pops for sure.
yeah. So like
It's like super recognizable.
yeah, like a happy accident. Like you can look at thumbnails and you know it's like somebody on the team, like thumbnails
Yeah,
of pictures or whatever, and you're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, yeah, that's one of us at least.
Oh, that's crazy. So
So
it was just like all kind of like random.
yeah, it just like fell together and like I don't know the way that it did. I guess like unintentionally,
I
but
feel like anything that you try too hard to do like doesn't always end up how you hoped, and it's always like the stuff that you kind of just you're like, oh yeah, that's sick. Let's roll with that, and you're like, then that's the stuff that people will like remember, you know,
for
like the non
sure.
try hard shit.
Well, that and you like have like at least myself, like I'll get like an image in my head, and then if it's not exactly the way that I expected it to be, like I kind of am let down, and then I'm just like it's never
I,
lived up like to what
I
I
know,
have built up in my mind.
I know that so well. I know that so painfully well. But I don't know. I think that's kind of the that's one of the weird like parts about drifting. It's you kind of have this. There is like that style aspect. Like you do want your car to look sick, and if you sometimes you'll like have this vision and it doesn't end up the way you want it, and you're like, and that's like most people that just go do like track days or whatever. It's like yeah, they want their car to look cool, but they're like, I got like these tires, these wheels because they're lightweight, and I bought this car because I like it, and I'm gonna drive it to work every day, and it gets good gas mileage and all this stuff. And drifting is just like, I got this because it looks crazy as fuck, and like,
Absolutely. Like people all the time would be like, "Oh, so what does this part do?" Like certain arrow things or whatever. I'm like, it just looks cool. Like
yeah,
there's no other. But they're like, "Well, does it have a function?" I was like, "Yeah, probably for like race teams or like there was R&D behind it, but like I'm
yeah,
not like using it for its function at all." Like
yeah. We're not going fast enough to activate this aerodynamic.
no.
Like, what set off the FD thing? I know.
Uh, so as actually part of like the street racing thing. So the like friends that I was hanging out with and kind of like the crew that I was a part of originally, my one good friend had an FD and it was like pretty like impressive for like our area. Like it wasn't really nice or anything. Actually, like the paint was kind of beat, but it was really, really fast. So,
Sick.
and like being in Indiana, like in the Midwest, like import culture is definitely like perceived a little bit differently. Like we were definitely in a
Mm,
place where it's like muscle cars, like lifted trucks,
yeah.
like a lot of that sort of stuff. So when like his RX-7 was like beating a lot of like fast street cars in town, like it was like pretty cool to be a part of that. So it was always like something I kind of looked up to, and I thought it was like cool that like that was even possible.
Yeah.
So like I actually never even thought I would like own like an RX-7 like that. Like I just kind of thought it was like not obtainable to be honest.
That's sick.
So like when I had my S13 for like 2 seasons, and then I started like popping SRs, and I was just kind of like over it a little bit.
Hmm.
So I was like, like,
Like, let's give this
oh,
rotary thing a try.
yeah, exactly, like the like the exact opposite of what anybody would think. But like, I had uh, I made like connections and like had enough friends that knew about Rotary where I was like, hey, like if I have an like issue or need to talk to somebody, like, I have somebody right here that I can at least bounce an idea off of or brainstorm or do whatever to like figure out what the problem is. Plus, I mean, like forums were pretty popular at that time. So like
Yeah.
if you really needed to figure something out, you could just like search and search and search and like hopefully find out like what was going on. So like that was like a big thing was like that car that I raced or I drove with, and then having a friend that had one for sale like kind of at the right time when I
You're like,
wanted
that's
to.
me.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely,
that's mine, dude.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So, and it was a night like pretty good condition. Like it had already been painted blue, so that was pretty tight. And then like the interior was mostly there. It ran pretty well, but like I got to do the fun stuff. Like I just put like drift parts on it, like
Yeah.
like coils, seat, like making sure it was running making sure it was running well, like diff, like I don't know, like
Do you run a two way or do you run welded?
I actually wanted to run a welded, but like there wasn't a lot of information like online at that time, and everyone
Because they're
said it.
viscous
Yeah,
stock.
they are. I don't know actually.
Oh, they have like the Torsen, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, they do. They have a torsion. Yeah, so people, that's what it was. People would like weld the torsons,
Yeah,
and
but
then
that's
they're
like
like,
more. I don't know how that works.
yeah,
I'm
they're just
not.
like,
I'm
if
not
you do
smart enough to
that,
do
it will
that.
explode, and then your car will like burn down. Like that's the way they acted. Like it was, I was like, well, these dudes are saying don't do that, so I was just like ended up getting like a used Cusco.
The internet says no. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. Like I had no idea. Like that was kind of a problem too when I like first got the car. Was like nobody was, or not nobody, but there was very few people that were like drifting third generation RX-7s. So
yeah.
like I was just like taking people's like what they were saying and then applying what I had learned from my S chassis and be like, well, if it doesn't work, I guess I can try something else. But like I didn't really know. I randomly hit somebody up on like RX-7 Club, and then they would just get mad at me because they're like, "You're just gonna crash that car." We're waiting for the part out, like kind of the typical
Oh
responses. Like
man.
it's like, all right, dude, like I guess whatever. So
Oh, good times on the forums.
yeah,
Some you're
I'm
just gonna
happy.
crash your car. It's like some dude driving it to his like engineering desk job once a week just to like keep everything going, but then has to let everybody on the internet know how cool he is. Dude, they were so I had a Lancer. They were so mean to me on Evolution M, dude. They were so mean. Look at me now.
Right.
Just kidding. I got a podcast with 100 subscribers.
But wait, I've listened to a couple of it. You said 14
Yeah,
listeners
dude, we're over
or
100
viewers
we're over 100 subscribers now on YouTube, dude.
coming up, coming
Yeah.
up. No, so I think a little bit of that too, like the people that were just like so against the idea of it, like kind of fueled the fire even more. And I was
Sick.
like, yeah, it was just kind of like a fuck you a little bit. Like not
Yeah.
only am I gonna like do it, but then like I'm gonna like enjoy it so much too. Like, okay, enjoy going to Cars and Coffee or doing whatever you're doing, but like
Yeah,
I'm
going
gonna enjoy every minute of this. Like one weekend is gonna be great.
Yeah,
So
it's
like,
like you're going to autocross. We're both driving around in parking lots with cones. I'm just actually having fun, and you're like, you know, trying
right.
to change your click your dampeners one setting at a time to try and get like a tenth of a second. Not saying that's a problem. Not saying people shouldn't do that. And that's
No, no, not at all.
it's
To
not
each their
fun.
own.
I'm sure it's fun. I actually kind of want to go do autocross in our like 90s prom queen car that we put together, but.
I think I think I'd feel like a much better driver if I would have done autocross, to be honest with you. Like if I would have spent like some time like doing it like maybe legitimately for a little while. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think I think it probably would translate some.
Yeah, probably. Maybe I'm just being mean. I don't know.
No, you're not. I feel the same way.
It's not all people who do autocross. It's like the forum moderators that do autocross.
Oh, for sure. It's like
Yeah,
the rule followers
yeah.
and like for whatever
Like
reason
you
this
only run this coilover and you only run it at this setting at this height. And you're like, all right, well they're adjustable, man. Like it's fine. You're like, well this guy on the forum says that you have to do like. You're like, all right. I'm happy that like drifting. Well, those people exist in drifting. Let's be fair. There are some people who.
They do. I'm actually okay. So to be honest, I'm trying to be more of those guys, like more like those guys now, because like I've been the opposite of that for so long, where I'm like maybe I should make this thing work with me a little bit more rather than me like trying to fight it and just being like I don't know. It feels pretty good.
Yeah,
Like
I think there's definitely there's the people in drifting who are like very particular about style, and I understand that, and the people who are particular about setup, and I understand that. You know, if people don't want to follow your path, like just let them. Like they'll figure it out.
yeah,
I made plenty of mistakes, but I learned along the way. Like
that's so important. I really feel like it is. Like there's no just like this one like secret to it all. Like that like you get a car and like slowly being able to build it like I think helps like progress like a driver so much rather than just hopping in this like made thing and like oh no it's 500 horsepower like drift car or like anybody can just hop in this and now you drift like that's just what you
yeah,
do and it's like I think it just like I don't know. There's a lot of bad um sorry, cat jumped up on the desk again. Just mistakes that you make and bad habits, really. Just like things that like a car will end up saving you rather than like if you were in a low power car or something that you just started building. Like, okay, I would have learned not to do that because of this reason.
It is way more fun to watch somebody in a underpowered car go hard than someone in an overpowered car hold back.
Any day of the week.
Yeah.
Like,
And I mean, that's like the same for like motor racing too. Like when I was trying to do that, even though I didn't do it at all, I was scared. This guy was telling me like, he's like, I'd rather drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow, like any day. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I've heard that adage like so many times, and it's so true. Like it has to be. Like I couldn't imagine like hopping in like some sort of like extreme car or some super car or something, and be like, all right, like open track. I'd be terrified. But you
yeah,
give me some like ragged out like rear drive something that's slow, like you have so much fun. Like you don't care if like how fast you're going in that situation. Like it's just enjoyable.
yeah. I think that's why I don't really care for exotics much. Like people are like, oh, have you seen this car? It does 250 miles an hour. I'm like, yeah, where are you gonna do that? You
It's
know, like
neat. Like I
it
like
looks cool. Like,
yeah, I'm impressed by the engineering and like the
yeah,
design and like the, materials they use in the interior. Like that's all cool and everything, but like it's kind of not, I don't know, like not in my realm.
yeah. I'm never gonna be able to afford it. One, two,
Right?
like, where am I ever gonna get that and go drive it? You know, like no one's ever gonna hand me the keys to one. Like, uh, I
If
could
they are,
save,
then
I could like save up and like be really good with money, and I could buy one, and I could, flex, I guess.
yeah, like I don't know.
But I'd rather drive some really heavily modified dumb car down the street than an exotic that's 10 times the price. Even though I could probably afford an exotic for how much I've spent on drifting
That is
over
very
10 years.
true. That's one of those things that like you don't want to think about as well. It's
Yeah,
just
you
like
don't want to
when
do that
people ask you
math.
like how much you're just like I don't really have a clue. Like I didn't keep like a tally. Like there's no spreadsheet with like how much I've spent, and I'm very happy that that's the case because like I would probably be pretty like unimpressed with myself.
I
Like
started one. Don't ever do it. I did
oh,
one. I did one.
no.
The worst is when you try and like I parted out my S13 and I put it all into a spreadsheet because like I had a friend parting it out for me
Okay.
because I'm lazy. And the list, I was just like, oh, this is probably this much, and you could probably sell it for this much. And like doing like the how much I lost on every single part, that hurt a little bit. But you
Yeah,
know what?
that'd be tough to swallow. But at the same time, like
At
yeah,
least you can get your money back a little bit. It's not like buying
yeah.
a AMG Mercedes and having it, drop
Yeah,
like
depreciate
a
in
hundred
half.
thousand dollars in
Oh
like
my god.
3 years.
I don't even like yeah. Oh. The thought of that is like makes me sweat.
I bought this brand new Range Rover. You want to buy it for 20 grand in 2 months? Like,
For
uh,
real.
but I don't know. So I ran into you literally on the streets of Osaka.
Yes. Yeah, how random by the way. Like
We were just walking around and we're like, oh shit, what's up?
yeah, we like had just got like amu rice or something which I'd never
Mm,
had and was amazing. And I think we were like buying some cooking knives and then we're
sick.
walking down the street and it's like hey, those dudes look pretty familiar. Oh, and they're super tall. Like, so no, I have to thank you, man. Like, you told us about the practice day at Meehan, and if you wouldn't have told us to come out, I don't think I would have watched any drifting when I was in Japan because we didn't make it to final bout.
Oh, so it's because of the tsunami, you guys got stuck.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we got
everybody's like trip to try and get to that final bout stage was like insane. They like they shut down like all the bridges, right? I don't know. I
yeah,
wasn't.
yeah, like bridges, trains. Like we took a bunch of trains that we weren't like we didn't have passes. Like one of them we didn't have a pass for or something like that, and then another train was shut down. And we were supposed to take this highway and rent a car and do all this stuff, but there was mudslides. It was just like an all-day trek, and then halfway or three-quarters of the way through it, we just decided to go back to Tokyo because we were just
Damn.
like we can't get to the countryside. Like there is there, or if we do, we don't know if we're going to get stuck. So
Yeah.
like then we might miss our planes back to the States, and we're just like, I don't know, man. Like we were pushing so hard to make it happen, and it just like wasn't gonna do. Like there's no way.
I have to come clean with you. There was a moment at Mahon where I, it's your girl or your wife. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, that green car is driven by a girl, right? And I thought I was
Mhm.
like being sick because I was like, oh shit, the girl's here, rip. Like, and she's like, you mean the Laurel? Okay, so I didn't say it at the time, but I have to come clean now. I didn't know it was a Laurel. I just said green car because I didn't know what it was.
That's hilarious.
So you can let her know I wasn't trying to be dumb it down for her. I was protecting myself.
Oh
Okay.
no, it's all good. If anything, I probably would have looked and just like not even like thought anything. I was like, oh yeah, the green car. Like that's hilarious. That's too funny.
I thought about that afterwards, and I was like, because I couldn't have said like, oh, well, I didn't know what kind of car it was, because it would sound like I was, but like literally that's what happened. I was like, oh, all right. I
Dude,
got
that
I got flexed on so hard. I like walked away. I was like, damn.
that's so funny. Dude, that day was so much fun. Like that was quite the experience of just going to that track in the flesh and seeing how consistent and how many dudes just throw down.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy, huh?
yeah, I was. You were well when we ran into you in Osaka. You were just like, you guys should come, and I was like, yeah, because we had like, I don't know what we had planned for the next day. We tried to like kind of split it up with like some cultural stuff, like some automotive
Yeah,
stuff. Like we had a pretty decent sized group, so we didn't want to just focus on just that, just because like the country offers so much.
yeah.
So like you were like, dude, you guys should really come. Like you made sure to say it like a couple times, and I was like, all right, guys, like we should rent a car and go make this happen.
Yeah, I'm
And
super glad you came. The practice days are like super cool. Those
yeah,
practice days are like the best because it's like you can go up to the wall, you can kind of go wherever you want. Like people are just kind of hanging out. You can hop in people's cars if you try that awkward English conversation.
yeah, I didn't even try. I was just
Yeah,
like happy to be there, and I was like,
yeah.
and I was like, no, I'm such a baby when it comes to that stuff. I'm like, no, I'm just happy with watching.
Was that your first trip to Japan?
Yes, yeah, it was.
Nice. How long were you there?
Like 12 days. So like just enough, but not long enough, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So you made it through a tsunami. That's cool.
Right? Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
was
for
pretty
sure.
crazy.
Yeah, like seeing like well, at first we didn't know how like serious to take it because like we
Yeah.
just never had the experience. So we were
Well,
I
like
think
in
we
Osaka, it wasn't really that bad. Like people were still out, kind of, and like it would rain kind of hard.
yeah,
But like up
so
in Tokyo, it was crazy.
it was yeah, so we were like well not in between but still closer to Osaka. So we were in Kyoto.
Hmm.
So like that's kind of where our trip had taken us at that point. And we're just like, oh, we'll be good. Like we are still planning on going to the track, like doing all the things. And when like we were outside, we noticed like the streets being like really empty, and then like everybody was like kind of going hard with like groceries and
Yeah.
being like preparing, and we were like, oh, like we should probably take this a little more serious. So we like went back to our Airbnb
You're
or
like fucking
whatever.
around in the streets. Like,
Yeah, like just being like really clueless. But yeah, seeing the like news, they had all these like funny. They were not funny, but to me they were. Um, like, well, they were like commercials of like these like things getting blown over.
yeah.
They were like I don't know, like PSAs, I guess.
Yeah, but they're
And
like really cute.
yeah, like it's
Like,
hard to take some of that stuff serious because
yeah.
there's like the sound effects, like everything that was going on with it. You were just like, oh, like I don't know if that's like super exaggerated and they're saying that's what could happen or that's what they're expecting.
Yeah, like
And plus, it's,
don't like super cutify the like cartoons. Like give me the scary shit.
yeah, this is like this gnarly typhoon that like shut down all these rail stations and like smashed into Tokyo and all this terrible stuff. And like
Yeah,
you're
I
playing
was
like this music that it doesn't really match the situation.
I was bummed out because I missed F1. I was gonna go to F1, and I've never been to F1, and it was at Suzuka, and I was like, this is gonna be so sick. Like I have to go, and it was like that or go to the competition day at Mahon, and like this is gonna be detrimental, but they like canceled practice or they canceled qualifying and put it all in one day on like that Sunday, and that was the day that was the comp day. And I was sitting at the comp day the whole day, like should have gone, man. Like I've been here like 5 times already. It's like I've been there like on 3 different trips. I've been to Mahon, and like every time it's fucking awesome. But like I've never been to F1, and F1 is
Either have
Suzuka.
I. Yeah, like we didn't find out till
I had
like,
a
for
ticket.
whatever
I
reason.
could have went.
Oh,
and
you
there
had a
was-
ticket? Like
Yeah, but the trains were shut down, so like
Yeah.
I couldn't get to Suzuka, and I didn't. Same thing. I didn't want to get stuck out there and not be able to get home. And it's like I wanted to hang out with the boys, and
Right.
like wasn't really like one of those trips where I should have like went off by myself. And like Keisuke from New Zealand, he was driving the comp, but he was gonna go with me on that Saturday or to the qualifying.
oh, that would have been so sick.
And like
It was something that was like we heard about it once we were there. Like I was like, oh yeah, F1's this weekend. Like one of those type of things, and I was like,
Yeah.
that'd be so sick. And then like looked at the logistics, and I was like, all right, everybody's gonna be mad at me if I try to do this. So I'm like, like just like throw a total curveball to everybody. Like, hey guys, we're gonna go to Suzuka instead. But yeah, then that ended up happening with like the storm and everything. So
It's okay, Suzuka. I'm terrible at Suzuka and Gran Turismo. That was like always the track that would fuck up my championship. It's that like long downhill left that like I always just blow off the track every time.
get really greedy with the braking zone and be like, no, I got. Oh,
Yeah. Or I just like space out and forget I'm racing. Like, damn you, ADD. Long straightaways. So you guys were at the original final bout.
Yeah, yep. So that was it was awesome. Like it was. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I guess like I've been really interested in seeing the progression of the driving from the very first final bout to like the current final bout as is. It seems like the styling of the cars is always going to be good, right? Like that's like one of the goals of final bout.
Absolutely.
But the driving seems to be getting better and better, and it's like stuff like Super D. I'm biased. My friends put it on, but stuff like that. And now final bout is like starting to see better driving, like
Absolutely.
way better driving. Like
Yeah. So like, in my opinion, personally, like the first one, there was a couple teams that had like that could put it together, that could put a solid run together, and then like most of the teams had like a standout driver for sure. But like everyone could link the course, like
everybody could drive.
yeah, everybody could drive, but as far as like putting a team run together is a totally different thing. Like
Yeah.
so I think every year like it just continues to just build on like the skill level, like the consistency of the teams. Like it's not just 3 or 4 teams. It's becomes 5 and 6 or or half the teams, and then most of the teams, and it's like impressive, but also like, man, I need to step it up. Like I need to like quit messing around and make sure that like I'm practicing with my team or just like elevating my own driving, because like that level is getting it to be impressive, and it's awesome. I love seeing it.
It's like, yeah, it's cool. People are starting to run slightly grippier tires or like slightly like wider tires. Are like, all right, I need to go faster,
Oh,
And,
for sure.
It's cool. It's the cars that everybody wants to see drive hard are starting to drive harder and harder. What do you like? How did that progression kind of come from you guys? I mean, obviously, like you guys all can drift. You've been doing it a long time. Was there, like, I mean, obviously you get into this because you're like, I want to do this and I want to do it well. Was there ever a point in which you were like, okay, I need to try harder? Like what? I guess.
I don't know if it was necessarily like try harder. It was just like maybe be a little smarter about it, because like that and running like different, like being on a team with multiple different chassis is such a challenging thing, because like with like my RX-7, like it's for whatever reasons it's a pretty like quick car under drift. At least
Yeah.
I think personally.
Yeah, they are.
And then like versus like say like a Z or just like DK's like R33, which was a pretty big car. So like that was something that was a little challenging, was just trying to get the cars to match up in speed as far as like what they were doing while in drift.
Yeah.
So, we talked about tire sizes amongst the team. What tires are we running? Do we all want to run something similar? Well, this car always runs away from this car. So do we need to mess with the order? So like, there's been some, I don't, not necessarily research, but just like some brainstorming and some ideas on how to mitigate some of those issues. And like sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, and it can just be as simple as like changing up the order, or like if you're practicing with one person all day and they've been fast all day versus like this person that's been a little slower, like maybe going to those other people and doing some of that just to know like kind of where everyone's at. So I think that's helped us for sure, just being open-minded enough to not be like dead set on a specific order of who's going first, who's last, or whatever. And if someone even broke, if somebody broke for the day or whatever, that can change everything as well. Like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to drive in comp because this thing broke and I need a welder, and then it gets welded and now they're back in the game like ready to go right before comp. And it's just, I don't know, there's so much mayhem that goes on, like just so much like different variables throughout the day that like sometimes planning it, like you have one plan that just gets tossed out like so early in the day because something happened that was unexpected. So
yeah my team's not the best at completing team tandem runs,
yeah.
as we've learned.
It's challenging. Like I think that's maybe why like we're all boys, don't get me wrong, but like it's definitely helped to have like a few cars, because like it's like almost guaranteed that someone's gonna like break, or
Someone's
like something's gonna get fucked up. Yeah.
Someone's gonna like they're it's, as far as drifting goes, it's definitely the team stuff. The team stuff always has like interesting dynamics. It's always we try from our point of view, we always try and kind of keep the like team tandem stuff as relatively not involved as possible. Like just go out and have fun kind of thing.
I think you have to. Like anything above that, like I couldn't imagine being like mad at one of my teammates because like something happened. Like
you were supposed to follow me closer. Like you hit you didn't go wide. And it's like, dude, team tandem, like that's the one thing I like about team tandem is like instead of driving against your friends, you're driving with your friends against other friends. Like, and if you lose, it's like we still got to drive sick. Like, it's very like showy, and I think that's more fun than.
Well, it's like everybody wins no matter what. Like there's a winner, but like everybody has such a good time, and like if you see a team throw down like a great run, like you're hyped for them. Like there's no amount of you being like, oh man, we could have done better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you think that way, like
board, guys.
yeah, like no, you're like hype, clapping or yelling or whatever it is, because like they threw down a good run and they deserve like whatever position that they get, or like I don't know. I couldn't imagine. Like
next time I'm gonna go up to Jason and be like, you should have lowered your tire pressure 3 psi, you fucking piece of shit. You cost us the championship. Everyone thinks we suck. Good job.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I care more than anyone else does, which I don't care that much, but it's nice to be on a team where no one gives a shit at all about team tandem. They're like, oh, is it going on? All right, cool. Let's like roll out, I guess. And then like, someone's car breaks and we're like, all right, sick. Like, we'll just
Right.
keep driving with whoever's there. Oh, there's only two cars. Okay, like that doesn't count. Okay.
Whatever, we're still gonna go out and have fun. Yeah, like I don't know, like I think there's so much anxiety involved in like making all of the like everything happen anyways
Yeah, just
that at
making it
that
to the
point,
event.
yeah, hell yeah. So like doing the actual competition is like we've put all these things together, spent all this time, all this effort. Let's enjoy this rather than like mess it up because some arbitrary reason or I don't know. Like you said, like your tire pressures weren't low enough, and like some silly
Oh,
thing that
you
doesn't
gripped up
matter.
right there. What's going on?
Yeah, if anything, you're
We're gonna have to look at the tapes. We're gonna have to adjust your suspension damping. I don't know. See,
one of
this
the
is
two.
yeah, this is exactly it. This is why drifting is silly. I don't even know what to call it. Is there anything in like so you've been around the sport like a long time, sport in quotes. Uh is there anything that you like is there anything that you haven't done that you'd want to do? Is there any like places that you'd want to drive or people you'd want to drive with or
Yeah, I think all the time, like places, like I'd love to go to the East Coast. Like I've driven out at like Englishtown, which was awesome, but since the last time I've been there, they changed the track up quite a bit. So that like would be something I would like to go back to. Um, there's some stuff like up where like Faction and those guys drive, and
Mhm.
like Cannon, I think it's called, or something like that.
Yeah, there's some
There's
fun stuff up there. It looks like
yeah,
that's
like
like
really.
super far from for us, so it's like
Yeah.
never gonna happen.
That and driving with people, absolutely. Like every region it like has cool motherfuckers. So I'm always excited to drive with new people and new tracks or there's different challenges for every track. And I think that's what's so much fun and important. And like once you like kind of get a track down, you're like you start feeling good, like you kind of
Yeah,
get in the flow of it and
yeah.
like there's something really like I don't know, just you feel like you've achieved something for the day almost.
You're
Like
like, this
there's
is why I'm here. This is why I do this.
yeah, it's like really gratifying, like throwing down a really good run at a new place and like being hype about it. Even if you're in your own car, no one else is in it, like whatever, you're just like enjoying the day and like having the best time ever. And it's like I don't even care. um, I think like driving internationally would be great.
Yeah.
Driving like Australia or New Zealand
Ooh.
seems amazing. Japan, like there's so many things really. Like I can't I can't name just one.
I mean, yeah. I'm always like on the outside of driving internationally. I'll get some laps in, but it's never like I don't get to do the whole day. But yeah, it's I can say it's pretty sick even just getting to do those few laps.
Just being able to watch like outside of the
Yeah.
states is awesome. So like getting the actual opportunity to drive. Like when we went to Japan, that wasn't even something I was like considering. I was just like, no, I'm going to experience, watch. Like I'm just going for like the least amount of like things that could possibly go wrong. Like, like be the guy that like buys a car from an auction, picks it up. It's not what like you paid for or whatever. Try to take it to the track, change out like seats or cages or whatever in order to get it like on the track. It's just like no, like my first experience like over there, especially I wanted to like try to make it go as smooth as possible. So
Yeah. We yeah. Yep. I've seen what I think it can be. It's definitely not easy. I mean, the New Zealand stuff was cool because like the Seas guys and D Club just made it like really easy for us and
those
for
events
everybody.
look amazing.
Yeah, but you got to meet the Seas guys are the dopest, man. Like, uh, and like everybody out there that we hung out with, like in that whole crew, and like the D Club guys and KSK and like all everybody, like they're all super nice and they're all just as ridiculously into drifting as we are. So it's like, you just like,
Don't really
it's just, yeah, it's just
don't
like,
miss a
oh,
beat.
you're
Yeah,
like, oh shit.
we tried to link up a Keisuke when we were in Japan, but it just like with all the stuff that was going on with the storm, it just didn't work out. We were kind of
Yeah.
bummed, but yeah. So
He's funny, man.
that
He's too funny. I want to get him on here. I've been like trying to tell him to do it.
I think that's one of like the best things about drifting is all the different personalities too.
Yep.
Because I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because, in my opinion at least, it's kind of like counterculture, like drift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think
So
if you got into it at a certain point, it was very counterculture.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And um, like kind of the parallel even with like skate culture and a lot of those things. Like you end up meeting all of these just interesting ass people that you get like you get different what do I want to like things that you would never think of to do. You're just you end up like picking up like their not bad habits, but it's
Like
like okay,
mannerisms and
yeah, mannerisms are like staying up, like oh we'll get 2 hours of sleep before this event, it'll be fine, it's
yeah,
cool, like no worries, like this has to get done before we can do that, so that's just what we're doing tonight, like
yeah. I am fully aware of that one. We're very very widely known for being late to like every fucking meeting, or never making a driver's meeting in the history of like. I mean, I think whatever, it's fine. There was an event that Julian showed up at like I think like 2 or 3 o'clock, and it was like far away too. I mean, it was a 2 day event, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But it was like, yo,
right. Like did you even try?
I don't know, man. It's like trying to do too much. Like if you, it's tough when you're trying to do everything yourself. Even when you have like the team support and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it happens. It's a lot of sacrifice. Like, and it's not always monetary. Like,
Nope.
it can stress
Time.
yeah, like so
Yeah.
many parts and so many things in your life where it's just like, all right, like, and sometimes you just have to push through all of it in order to make it happen. And
Yeah.
like,
You're like, this could be detrimental, but I'm almost there.
yeah, like pushing through when every indication is like saying like this is not a probably good idea, like you should have quit like 3 times, like when something went wrong like 3 times ago, that's probably
Yeah.
when you should have just called it quits, but
Sometimes you make it though. Sometimes, and then when you do, that's always the best. It's the
it
best.
yeah, like it's unmatched the like highs that you feel in those situations, like there's so much adversity that is overcome in those situations where you're like I feel like some people would have just like threw in the towel, so
Yeah.
you're like hype about it.
I think that's kind of what brings the weird subculture together, right? Like it's just like skateboarding. I mean, there's like people who can like push around me, and then there's like people who really go for it and like make it their life's mission to, get better or push their style or push, XYZ. And like those are the people who like get along for the most part and have something that they're like, all right, you're fucking crazy. Like I'm crazy. Like we're gonna hang out and like do this shit together. I mean, definitely drifting has like that social aspect of it. There's always like sometimes there's a little bit of drama. Some people don't agree on some stuff, but
Oh, for sure.
for the most part, I mean, we're all there to do the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's a very like welcoming environment, even though it's probably not perceived that way. But like when you when when you meet someone else, you can tell if they're down, like
Yeah,
for whatever reason. And it's like, oh no, like I've been in that situation that had a like super ratty car that like wasn't the most prepared for a situation, but like made it happen. So like you can kind of see yourself in that person.
yeah,
So like you want to see them succeed.
yeah. Yeah, and there might be like there might be like some animosity here or there, but like people will come together usually for the most part if it really comes down to it.
For sure.
I mean, there's always going to be outliers, but I think as a whole, it's pretty cool.
You
Even on
kind of,
the even on like the smaller scale, like friends that have gotten into drifting after like years after I did, seeing kind of like the next wave. Like they have different approaches to stuff, but like for the most part, it seems like a pretty good community. I'm not saying that we're not all the same community. It's just
well, I mean, like you said, there's different aspects of it. It's like the parallel with skating. Like, you have dudes that are big rail skaters. You have dudes that are tech guys. You have guys that only ride park. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have all these different facets of
yeah.
this, like, idea that's the same,
You have
but
big vert mega ramp X Games people,
yeah, doing like ballerina whirly birds, like,
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's skating. That's the same thing as like Andrew Reynolds, like front side flipping like over a handrail. Like, no, it's not, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like the X Games exists and like Formula Drift exists for this is controversial, but like they exist for people who don't do it, right? It's like the easy entry into something that they find cool, and for people who do it, it's more entertaining to see people who are doing what people who do it could do, I guess. That was explained really bad.
No, I completely agree. It's, I mean, you have like the Nijas that are like
Yeah.
these superhuman,
Yeah.
like,
Like, where did you come from?
yeah, like amazing skateboarders. And there's also those drivers, obviously, like super consistent, great style, like, and I mean, I guess Nitro's a little different since he does like street skate, pretty gnarly stuff or whatever. Like, you could
And there's always going
correlate.
to be that overlap between the
Yeah,
like
yeah,
pro
yeah, of
shit.
course.
Like
It's
you're like,
not
all right,
just one or the
all right.
other.
Like there's always like the couple people in the pro thing that like the grassroots like street people are like, all right, I fuck with him, like
Yeah, yeah, hell
I fuck
yeah.
with that person. Like they rip. Like I hope they
Absolutely.
win.
Yeah, hell yeah. Absolutely.
They're down for us. They know what it's all about.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that and like the first professional like drifting, I mean obviously it's the only professional drifting, but that I saw was Formula D, like I said, in Chicago, and like that was wild for me to see like in '05 because like I think it was like I think like Hiro Sumida or somebody like crashed a chaser, and I'd never even seen a chaser before.
Yeah, you didn't even know what car it was. You're like,
Yeah,
it's a four door. I don't know.
yeah, it was like this wild four-door thing, and he like wadded it up like super hard, and then like in the pits he was like banging it back out and like ended up like going back out, but you could tell like it had been smashed so many times, and like
Yeah.
it was such a like just like shock because I'd never experienced or seen anything like that before. So like oh, some of these dudes crash and like bang out their cars and then go race some more. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah,
Like,
like they don't even do that in NASCAR, man. I mean, kinda, I guess,
yeah, well, that's I kind of
but
had
not
like
not the same way. Not that the driver doesn't come bring it back to the pits and
right.
bang it out. It's like the pit crew like changes what they can, and then the driver goes back out. It's not like the
No,
driver like in his racing suit with like a fucking sledgehammer.
sitting in the trunk kicking it out. Like,
Yeah, you're like, all right, I can see he's done this before.
yeah, no, like I think I had like kind of a prejudice towards like drifting at first. Like, so I saw Formula D, and then probably like through the internet and like other things, I saw like I don't know if it was just like grassroots stuff or whatever, but I'd see like dudes like ripping their cars, like just like getting smashed into stuff, and they were like kind of hype about it, I thought, but I didn't
Yeah,
know like they were like hype because they got like close to the wall. Like I was just broke and just was like those dudes are just like fucking their cars up, and like that's really dumb. Like drifting's pretty dumb. Like to do it as like an actual thing. Like I thought it was like super sick on video games and all this other
yeah,
stuff, and then like to think like years later, like now I'm that person, then it's just like, oh man, like
Yeah. Then you were that person on the forum, and the dude's like, "Now you're the problem," and you're like, "You don't get it, man. You haven't done it yet." Like,
exactly.
once you do it, then it's over.
It really is. It
Yeah.
really is. Like that ride along that you give to somebody that has never been in a drift car before, and like you almost forget like how exciting and how much like adrenaline, just all of the emotions that you get from it is pretty intense.
Yeah. It's definitely. I mean, I remember my first ride along in like a cage drift car, and it was just like at Sonoma on some skid pad. But I was like, "This is it. Fuck it." I'm like drifting around like solo was cool, but like I was in a chase car, and I was like, "That's it. I got to learn how to do that." Like that. If I could figure out how to do that, like my life will be complete, kind of thing. Like,
That's so cool.
uh, still working on it. I mean, I think I'm probably better than that ride now, but like I still like feel like I am not able
Oh,
to
I
do
need so
that.
much tandem practice. It's really
It's just like a whole
it's
different thing.
embarrassing.
It's a whole different thing. Like I don't know, man.
It's
I'm like literally trying to learn how to juggle because I think it'll help. Like all this like crazy shit I've decided in quarantine. I'm like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna fucking do this. And I'm sure none of it will help, but
So you need to start like a challenge, not a challenge, that makes it sound super lame, but like if like you're on like interviewing somebody, they have to juggle. Like that should be like one of the things where like
be like, all right, now it's time to juggle.
and I'm like
I was talking to Phoebe, Julian's girlfriend today because I'm trying to. She was like talking shit about how I should have a segment on how to be a good drift girlfriend. And I was like, you should just come on and let these girls know. I was like, no one's gonna see it, but you should check it out. Like, or I was like, I'm down. I think that'd be fucking hilarious. Like,
that would be like probably pretty eye-opening for a lot of dudes. Like, oh man, I totally do all that shit, and I'm the worst significant other ever. Like, you might save some relationships with that one.
I'm down. Let's do it. I mean, you know,
That's so funny.
drifting can be taxing on relationships, man. Sure as fuck can. It's like you're going again. Yeah. What time are you gonna be home? I don't know.
I don't know.
Hope.
Sunday,
Yeah.
maybe Monday. I don't know.
Oh, you're gonna go work on your car? How long is that gonna be? I hope an hour. Could be
With my
10.
yeah, with my mechanic skills,
Yeah.
probably 10. Like,
Yeah. Like, yeah, I got into it and everything's fucked, so I'm gonna be here for a while.
I mostly just made it worse.
Yeah, I ordered
So
a pizza. Like, I'll see you tomorrow. Don't stab me when I come in the apartment with like fucking dirt and fucking oil on my face. Like, oh my god.
no, I actually like getting rust in my eyeballs. Like that's like that's super sick.
That's the best time. That's the goodest
Fuck.
time. Uh, I think, yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool though. Like drifting definitely builds up a tolerance to working a long time. Like long days at work are like, all right. I mean, like I kind of do this sometimes. Or I just kind of like whatever. Like it builds up some stress tolerance, I guess.
Yeah, just like overcoming adversity. Like
Yeah.
like being able to be like, I don't necessarily want to do this, but it needs to happen in order for something else to happen. So I'm just gonna push through it.
Yeah.
Like,
When Julian hit me up, he's like, "You want to go to Canada?" And I was like, "Dude, I have a Forerunner. Like, I'm not towing to fucking Canada with a Forerunner. Like, you're out of your goddamn mind, dude. There's mountains and I thought about it and I was like, you know what, man? Like, I've blown off so many of these trips because I was always the one that's like, that's too far. I don't want to fucking do that. It's a lot of money. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking see what how like requested the time off work, did it. Just like one of the best weeks of my life. Like road tripping, talking shit, fucking seeing the country that we live in, driving through Eastern Washington and meeting like crazy like Native American gangsters at like this gas station near, whatever. I was like, dude, I didn't know that existed, man. Like, this is crazy. You get to like Canada, like Canada was sick. Like their drift event started at 12 o'clock in the afternoon or like 11 or something because everyone would just be up drinking all night.
So
That
they
was the
just
reason. That was the reason. That was it. They were like, oh yeah, we started like 11 because everybody's drinking at night. Like we're just gonna party. I was like,
everyone has to rehydrate in the morning in order to
yeah.
like sit in
It
their
was the
car and like
sickest.
sweat it all out.
Yeah, we'd like party and then we'd like go. We just went to this like shitty breakfast spot next to this like crazy weird motel that we stayed at. Dude, there was in the parking lot of the motel that we stayed at was a Dodge Durango that was converted to look like a stormtrooper, like with fiberglass.
I think I can actually see that pretty well. No,
Yeah, they like kind of already have that look, and it was
right?
like, and like, it was just, dude, it was such an interesting place. I don't know, I had such a good time, man. Uh, and it's those things that like break you out of your comfort zone. Because I was like, what if my car breaks down? What if the trailer breaks down? Like what if I'm in the middle of nowhere and my transmission goes on my truck? Like it didn't. It could
Yeah,
have, but if it did, hopefully it would have been on the way back because I had a good time.
yeah. Well, that and like you somehow figure it out.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
somehow,
It's
like
like,
it's
all
so
right,
crazy. Like
I'm gonna be a day late to work. Not the end of the world. Like I
right.
still got to live this experience. There was a cool video. Like shout out to Aviel. He made a sick video, even though it took him fucking 2 years to put it out. Like yelled at him every time I saw him. It's like, hey man, that was like a big deal to me. I don't get to do this kind of stuff very often. Can you please make the damn video? Uh, but yeah, it's stuff like that. Like I don't know. Just I'm sure you guys driving 7 hours in your drift cars and smoking at ECU, like
Yeah, like
you figured it
yeah,
out.
yeah, absolutely. Like
At the
it's
time, it was like, I'm never doing this shit again. Fuck this sport. Like, you guys are all assholes. Like, you let
yeah,
me do
like
this.
like trying to start the car. Like no, everything's good. Like going like just trying to track down the problem. Like and I'm already not like. I mean, I know the chassis a lot better now, obviously, but at the
Yeah.
time I was just like, dude, like everything's good. Like there's nothing physically wrong with this. Why is it not working? And it was just like a busted zip tie on the harness because we were we may have been drifting on the way to the event a little bit, and I think the wheel caught the harness that was like tucked in the
Mm.
fender well, and I just rubbed through it just slightly, and it was enough to short the ECU, and like how it
That's like
goes.
that's like the worst possible outcome of rubbing through your harness.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and then it like rarely happens. It's always like, one of the first times I went street drifting. Actually, the first time I went street drifting with my S13, I rubbed through the harness, and I started my car in the morning to go to work, and I have like a half an hour drive to work. I started my car, and it was like dewy out, street parked. I hit the wipers, horn comes on. I like switched the wipers. And I turned the wipers off. I can't turn the horn off. Like the horn will not go off. It's just stuck on constantly. So I'm literally driving in bumper to bumper traffic with my horn on the whole way to work. I was a car audio installer at Best Buy at the time. I like drive because it was on the second floor, so I drive up the ramp, and my boss is cool as fuck, but like I've never seen him so fucking pissed off ever. I pull up and he's just like, "The fuck was that?" And I was like, "Oh, I went street drifting last night, and I like rubbed through the harness." He's like, "Oh, sick." He has an S14 now, like
Okay.
LS, and like yeah, he got into it too, like pretty hardcore after that. Like,
So you're just driving through traffic, like hitting all the different octaves with your horn, like.
dude, everyone on the road was furious, and I'm like, I can't be late to work again because I would sleep through my alarm a lot. I was kind of a bad employee, but I could not be late again. Like I could not
Right.
be late.
You're
I was
like,
gonna lose my
well,
job, so it was like I didn't have time to try and pull the fuse. It was like
this is
go.
necessary. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my only option. I'm doing it.
Yeah, and
Like,
we were out late. We were out late the night before because we were street drifting. So I got like 4 hours of sleep, and I like
of
woke up and I'm
course.
like, oh, can't be late. Go, go, go. Oh man, that was I will remember that forever.
Yeah, that's something that's stuck in your head. Like, it's impossible to forget that. Like,
That night was pretty cool though. I mean, I got to drive. I got to drive my. We. I think I told the story on here already, but I'll do it quick. I just swapped a KA into my coupe
okay.
because we bought it, and my ex girlfriend and I bought it together because her uncle was into like Integras and she likes 240s. It was like a weird thing, but it quickly turned into my car. Uh, I paid her out. I was like, "This is mine. You can buy your own if you want." Like I'm going nuts. I'm in deep. We watched. My friend showed me. He worked at like some BMW shop, and he had a S14. And he was like I like kind of knew him from high school, and we went to like summer camp together when we were younger. But like just because of S chassis, we like became friends again. Still friends to this day. Thomas Christensen, what's up? Lives like over there. Uh, and he showed me the Risky Devil like video where fucking Josh goes like, my heart's still in the fucking streets or whatever at the end, and me and him just looked at each other like, we gotta go tonight, like tonight's the night, dude, like we're gonna go, it's gonna be sick. And I drove his car, and it was like KAT super crazy power, and then I like drifted this whole, it was like called the Home Depot circle, you know, like the dumb names for spots, but it was like a big like truck turnaround, like a big ass circle. And I like drifted the whole thing in his car and in my car, and I was like, that's it, like I'm fucking whatever. I like started selling like random shit that I had collected or whatever, and I was like, I gotta get exhaust, I gotta get this, yeah, I, like, you know, I got the itch. I'm like, fucking give me everything. I need coilovers, like.
Time to make it happen.
Yeah, but that next morning definitely made me question it.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. Getting caught up street drifting is sometimes can be, that sucks. Like, I had a situation where I had to go to court early on and like do that whole sort of thing, and uh, sometimes it happens.
Yeah, I I I did for a while, like when I first started out, and then I stopped for a really long time. I haven't. I went once in the last like 6 years.
We just kind of, I don't know, like sprinkle it in, I guess.
Yeah,
Like, if it just works out where there's like cars that meet up in a situation, and like there's a couple like factory like complexes that are usually pretty like barren at night.
yeah,
So like we'll go rip through there, and it's
good.
usually like a pretty chill spot, but like, I mean, you just got to be smart about it typically. Like, hit the spot, go to somewhere else, come back later, like, do your rounds. Like, I don't know. Like, we've actually,
Be respectful of the spot always.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, there's that etiquette, just like skating, like that skate park
Yeah.
etiquette, like,
Yep.
same type of thing. Like, you're not like dropping in front of some dude, like, same thing.
Yeah.
Like, you've been at a spot for a little bit, you need to like dip, like, take off and don't blow it up
Yeah.
because,
Don't post it all over the internet.
yeah, absolutely.
It's like the
Like,
same. I guess it's the same as like a street spot in skating. Like, you know, just like be like, oh, fucking, how sick is this? Like, look, there's never anybody here, and like, you know, I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
it's that's different, but
yeah.
it's still kind of similar.
No, absolutely. Like, we've like been like chased on like street roads before by like people that were mad because we were drifting in the area, and like tried to like kind of like push us off the road and stuff, and it was like
What?
kind of intense. Yeah. Like,
You're like, hey
had
man, the thing you're doing is way more dangerous than the thing I was doing.
yeah, yeah. Like, this was a like empty factory complex, and next thing you know, we're like getting tailgated super hard, and like
Yeah.
this big truck like then gets beside us and is like kind of swerving a little bit and just being real erratic. So we're just like, all right.
Oh.
So we like speed up and just like kind of like take off, and then like a friend of mine calls me, but I'm like, he's not with us. So I was just like, oh, I'll get back to him, whatever. Like, we're headed back to the house. Like, after that car, or that, it was actually like a truck, like started doing that stuff. We're just like, all right, we'll start heading back, like towards our, like to the other side of town, like back to the house or whatever. So like there's, I think like two or three, I think there's like two of us. So we get back to the house or whatever, and I finally like call my buddy back that was like blowing me up. Like, he called me a few times, and I was like, hey man, what's up? He's like, are you guys out tonight? And we're like, yeah. He's like, oh, like someone came across on like a police scanner saying like there was a bunch of like loud noises and all this other stuff, and they're looking for these two little cars, like all this stuff. And we were just like, what? So we like put the cars in the garage and like,
Whoa.
yeah, we're just like, okay, well, we're not gonna do that for a little while
You're
because
you're like, dude, we're just that's a business park.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty harmless. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know,
I don't know.
we weren't
That's
excited.
gnarly, man. I had a truck try and push me off the back roads one time, like where I was with this I was with this girl. I was trying to impress her on the back roads in my fucking front wheel drive Lancer, and I was okay in it. All right, like I wasn't just like pushing every corner or whatever. But like this, I I I was driving like somewhat quickly,
Hmm.
and I upset someone in a pickup truck, and they kept trying to like lock me into the other lane,
What?
like into oncoming traffic, like. And I'm like, dude, you realize you're endangering the person with you. You're endangering me and the person in my car more than me driving like spirited to for what? Like, because you're upset that I couldn't figure it out. Like the logic made no sense to me. Like I get it. Like you don't want people doing that. Like if you live down the street or whatever and your kids hang out. Like I get it. But I was like 16 or 17 or something at the time. So it was like I mean I ditched him. It was pretty sick. It was fun. But I did some like really like way more dangerous stuff than I would have had that not been the case. And
Yeah, of course.
that's like kind of the like I think that's the rules why they try not to like police chase people as often because like they're going to do more dangerous shit than they would have if they were just driving fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they're pushing all of those things, and like I don't know if they're also mad just because like does it become like an ego thing? It was like how dare you like
Yeah.
drive spirited around me? Like
Yeah, how
what?
dare
Like
you endanger me? I'll endanger you and myself. You're like, why?
sick logic.
Yeah. Hey, man. Doesn't work like that. Also, bye.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, your F-150 ain't keeping up with this Lancer, bro. All 114 horsepower to the
But
wheels.
but so fun.
It was actually a really good time. Actually, I may or may not have had coitus in that car with that girl right after that because she was like she's kind of adrenaline into that sort of thing. A little crazy.
So it all worked out.
Yeah, that was sweet. That was a good time, and we didn't die. So hey, thanks, bro. Thanks for trying to kill us.
Yeah, you actually hooked it up
Yeah,
instead.
dopest wingman of all time.
You like text him later, like, "All right, man, thanks. I appreciate."
He's
Like,
actually my friend.
yeah,
I mean, like I got like, dude, I'm not a good fighter. Like, I'm never gonna like protect a chick in a fight, like from a big dude. But like, I could get away from a pickup truck and a dude that looks scary in a car. That's really my only game, I guess. It's my only way of like looking macho, I guess, in that sort of situation. What is this podcast even about? What am I doing? Tell,
I feel like I'm all over the board.
Yeah, but that's cool, man. It's like this is like how people like really get to know people, I guess. I don't know. If I just like hammer you with questions like when did you get your first car? What kind of car was it? When like what kind of engine did it have? When did you get your first when did you realize that you liked wheel fitment? Like, it's
Yeah,
I try not to do the like questions and stuff cuz
a little
um
forced.
yeah, and it's like always like it's the same questions I'm sure you got like a million times. It's like I mean, we all have those like DM questions that we get a lot, and I always try and be nice and answer them. Well, it's like,
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's one thing. Like if I'm having like a shitty day or like whatever it may be, like I always want to like have an interaction with somebody that is good, or like they don't feel slighted or feel some type of way at the end because they feel like they were just kind of brushed off.
yeah,
And like like that, and just like sharing information that I wish I would have potentially had like when I was at that same like crossroad or whatever. So like
Yeah.
I could, save somebody, time or effort or money or whatever. But yeah, like that's something that like I don't know if I've probably not always been that way, like it's definitely something that I'm getting older. I'm
Yeah.
trying to be like much better about and being like much more conscious of like, I don't know, just being a better human, I guess.
I try and think back to the time when I was like the annoying kid on Evolution M, like asking like dumbass questions, and I'd be like, all right, you never know. Like they could just be super young. They don't have anybody else to ask. I'm gonna hook them up, And then
Yeah,
like
they're just are excited just to talk about it.
yeah, sometimes they're just asking just to like see if you'll respond, which is like kind of sick. Like dude, I remember this is gonna sound so corny. I messaged Justin Shreve like a picture I took or something, like because he like did photo shit or whatever. Like when I first got into drifting, and he responded, and he was like, I think he was like drunk or something because he like had hella typos, and there was like he kept saying like fuck because he kept spelling shit wrong. I thought that was the coolest, most like genuine like response, and I was like, oh, he didn't write me some like canned bullshit, like he like because I can't type either, so it was great. It made me feel better. I was like, oh, Justin
Absolutely.
Shreve can't fucking type. That's great. I can't either. Or he's
Yeah,
just
like
drunk, and that's
it
not.
like humanizes people because like you have
Yeah,
like these like I mean, I know I have so many people built up in my mind, that like, and then I ended up meeting them or whatever, and I'm like, these people are like cool as fuck. Like,
yeah.
they're down, like, they're just like, someone else that I met or whatever it may be. So, like, these, like, big stories that I've built up, or I'm self-conscious because I don't want to go up and say hey because I feel like I'm gonna like look like a total dork or like some fucking nerd because I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, I really like what you do and your stuff and all your shit, but I don't even know why I came over here to talk. Never mind, I'm just gonna like disappear. Like,
Well, I don't know. I feel like in drifting, it's kind of one of those things like skateboarding where you let your in quotes craft like do the talking kind of thing. It's like, okay, I came here to do this. Like it's definitely social and it's cool to make friends, and people have kind of a harder time. I don't know. There's like a little bit of like social awkwardness around drifting, I think, because it's one of the, I don't know why. Like
definitely. No, there
I would
definitely
say that the
is.
amount of people who drift and also have cats is like 90%. I don't know what it is.
There's a high percentage for
It's
sure.
it's a super high percentage. It's like insane. Uh, there's yeah, it just there's such an interesting dynamic in who gets into this at this like weird level, and we're almost all yeah, like you know people's cars, you know kind of a little bit about them, but not really. I don't know. I just think it's cool to like as we've been doing this a long time. It's like cool to get to know people. So like I always try and get to know people at the track, or I don't know if I'm in a chat or fucking talk to them. I always get excited on when people post like their personal shit on Instagram, like they'll like post a picture of their family or like post a picture of them like skateboarding or cooking dinner or whatever. It's like, all right, cool, like you know,
Same, yeah, it's like that peek behind the curtain a little bit. Like
yeah,
everyone's so used to like having this. Well, me especially. Like I feel like no one wants to see like that shit. Like I thought that way for the longest time. I'm like people like I interact with them because like they see what like I've built, and I'm happy that like they're hype on what I built because I'm hype on it. Like I am so excited about like how like my car or driving or whatever. Like that's why I'm trying to just like I don't know, lead by example or whatever. Just like
yeah,
if you want to see clean cars, like build clean cars and then drive them hard. Like,
yeah,
just kind of do that sort of thing. But then like one of those things, like you were saying, like seeing someone cook something or like other aspects of their life is so interesting
yeah.
because you get that little peek and it's like, oh, sick. Like,
You're like, oh, dude, I like cooking, like
right?
like
For
we like
real.
drifting and cooking. That's sick. Like Benson, I had Benson like after we did the podcast, I had him send me because we like talked for a little bit like after I ended it, but he was like explaining. He was like we were talking about like cooking and stuff because he's always cooking and like posting it on Instagram. And like I'm like, dude, send me like I was like, what's one of your like dope recipes? And he sent me like a super well worded like 3 paragraph recipe for like his pasta, and I still haven't made it, but I will because it looks like so fucking detailed. Uh,
Yeah, you have to. Like
and like that's just cool, man. It's like cool to I don't know, like if you skate and you both like the same band, like that's like another thing. I don't know. It's kind of
yeah.
when you post those like personal things on social media, it's like they don't get the same likes as like if you were to post your car like after a refresh.
Yeah.
But the people who are liking that aren't necessarily always people that you know. It's like the people that know you or
Yeah,
like
it's a
are
different connection. It's that personal
yeah
connection. It's those things that's like, oh, you can be like multifaceted or like you
yeah
have more depth as a person.
yeah
Like granted, we're all like very honed in on this like thing that we all enjoy, but like you also can get so burnt out and
yeah.
like to
That's real.
not I don't know, take the time to show that almost like sells yourself short a little bit at the same time.
Yeah, I think as we get older and like a little more confident, it seems like that's where you're like, all right, I'm in the kitchen, like
Yeah, I
check out my
definitely think
skills.
it's a confidence thing for me for sure. Because I was just
Yeah,
like, no one wants to see this shit. Like, no
yeah.
one cares that I'm building a fence or like like doing some landscaping or like
Yeah.
some other like random ass like chore or whatever. And then
When
people like,
yeah, like when you're pre-20 or like early 20s, you're like only posting car shit. I'm only gonna talk about car shit. Like no one needs to know anything about like my life. Like no one gives a shit. Like because you'll post it and you'll get like a third of the likes or whatever, and you're it's like, dude, look at this beautiful sunset. This shit's sick, you know? Like, dude, I post all these like city landscapes and they get like no likes, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. That's a fucking awesome picture. I don't care.
yeah, I want to go back and look at this at some point in time and be
Yeah,
like hyped about like that sunset or like,
yeah. I don't
oh
want to
yeah,
see.
I was at this place.
I don't need to see like 90,000 pictures of my fucking car in a row. Like,
Yeah, I get annoyed of it. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm tired of looking at this fucking thing. Like, I know everybody else is. Like,
When, uh, so my girlfriend and I met on Tinder. We live together. Uh, it's actually the only Tinder date I've ever been on. I only went on one Tinder date, and we've been together like I think 5 years, like coming up here. So that's crazy. But she showed my Instagram to her friends at the time, and at the time I was like very involved in kind of like flexing my car and not anything else. And one of her friends straight up said, "Oh, you're gonna date a car?" Like,
pretty much.
and that
Like,
shit
oh,
stuck with me, man. I was
smart
like,
man.
okay, I gotta like put some pictures of like me doing shit, or like me with my friends, like uh, I
Absolutely.
don't know.
Well, it's good too because like it's so easy to know someone for their vehicle. Like you know them
Yeah,
for like a select chassis or a car or whatever it may be.
yeah,
And then like if that person was to come up and talk to you, you had no idea.
yeah. I mean,
Like,
straight up, your car is like iconic for years. Like before I even started building cool cars, like when I had my S13 look like dog shit, I was like, damn, that car's fucking sick. You know what I mean? And but I didn't know what you look like. I didn't know, what you're into. Whatever,
yeah,
right? Like,
absolutely. Well, thank you very much. But at the same, I feel like I was so lucky. Like right place, right time, and just like I don't know, just being excited about shit.
yeah,
Like trying to push the thing. Like honestly, I feel the same way when you first started building your E36. Because at first I was like, what? He got rid of his S chassis and he got one of those? Like, and I was like, this will be interesting. And then I started like styling it. You put the motor, and I was like, this thing's fucking sick. Like it was turning out so good, and I was so impressed with like the design decisions that you made and everything.
thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it was good because like there wasn't a well represented E36. I felt like in the
Yeah,
states,
that's
like
what I wanted to do.
for like drift style at least. Like there's
Yeah,
plenty of like good looking M3 like touring
Right.
car,
Right,
like
right, right, right.
that sort of thing. Like, and I love the way those look. Like, they're awesome. Like, I actually a lot of times prefer those.
Yeah.
But like seeing like a sick like drift style E36 was like a breath of fresh air for that
It
community.
definitely took some confidence because I did not have I didn't have a lot of support on my decision by people around me. I'll just say that. I was like, trust me, I have a plan. It's gonna be good.
I
You know.
totally probably would have been one of those dudes.
Yeah,
Like,
I had a lot. There was a lot of question marks popping up.
there's like so many times with like, because I bounce a lot of ideas like back and forth between me and my brother. So
By the way,
like,
the fucking breaking Carhartt shirt is sick.
oh,
How
so this was just like some bootleg thing I decided to print up like
sick. That's so cool.
for the team. So like anytime we go anywhere, I feel like I need to wear. I need to have more made because my whole team was like, "Yo, do all of us get those?" Or well, okay. So I made them for all the Japanese drivers at final bout when
Oh, that's sick.
69. Well, hold on, I fucked it up because I got them in like smalls and mediums,
Yeah.
but their Carhartt sizes for this particular style of shirt, they're humongous. They're so big. So I would have been just like gifting them like blanket. Like they were massive. And I was just like, I fucked this all up. Like I can't give this to these guys. Like
Yeah.
so like I have like a few of them just at the house, like not doing anything because they were the total wrong size and I just felt like an asshole. So but yeah. So
They wouldn't have cared. They would be hyped. Should've
I should probably just mail them or something now.
Yeah.
I just felt like such. It was one of those things. It was like a confidence thing where I was just like, I'm not gonna go up to these dudes and just like, hey, hand you this stuff, and then I don't know. I just felt really stupid.
Dude, Tomoya, dude, they are just as excited to be around you as we are to be around them. That's the coolest part. Like they're so excited to be around American people who are like into drifting, into the drifting that they have been into for like 20 years. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
they're like I'm home. These are my people in a foreign country. Like this is the coolest shit ever. Or at least Tomoya. I can't like speak for everybody, but like Tomoya speaks a little bit of English, so it was
yeah, I spoke with him like for I don't know a couple minutes at final, but it was mostly just me nerding out. Like, hey, do you mind if I like get a picture?
yeah,
But
yeah,
I had a breaking shirt on or whatever, and he like then we started to talk, and like if anything, he was the one that like made the situation not weird,
yeah.
and it was me like being like too nervous or I don't know, just in my own head about it, I guess.
Yeah, Jason and I went over to get our posters autographed by all of them, and they're like, you want us to sign this for you? We're like, yeah. They're like, yeah, please, and they're like, okay, like why?
Like right, like our signatures.
Yeah, they're like, we just drove cars a long time ago, and we still drive them now. Like, we're like, what are you making us sign autographs? Like, we all drift. Like, we're just drift people. We're just all drifting. Like, that was like the coolest thing. I was like, oh, like, with they're so accepting. Like, this is the community. We are all one, kind of thing. It was like,
Dude,
whoa,
it's so wild like to think about like even with like Facebook, like when it started getting big in Japan and like all of a sudden like I would get like a friend request from a driver that I've looked up to for like since I was in high school. And now all of a sudden I'm like, why the fuck are you sending me a friend request? Like this is so backwards. Like I should be definitely sending it to you and like just so cool that like that community there and here like finally could
it's
meet.
like really accepting. Yeah,
Yeah. Like, it was so wild. Just like the fact, like all these people in videos and all this stuff. Now you can see them like fishing or
yeah,
like
that's
doing
the best part.
doing
That's
whatever
the
they're
fucking
doing.
best part. The guy from Crazy Max has a fourth gen Forerunner, or it's a Hilux Surf.
Uh
But
huh.
like, dude, if I post off-roading shit, he's like sends like heart emojis and like all kinds of shit because like he's like super into that,
Yeah.
and he loves my Beamer, and I think that like that was I was at Mahon and like he's like Yusuf came and got me. He's like, "Oh, the guy from Crazy Max wants to give you a towel," and I was like, "All right." And I like go over there and like, it was just, it was sick that like somebody who got drifting like to where it's at essentially, like he was like one
Yeah.
of the big like star, is like hyped on the new stuff, and like we both have forerunners, and he's like into off-roading, and I was like, this is crazy, like
It seems like some like weird bizarro world.
this
Like
the wall social media like took down the wall between like what is this foreign land that we're all like super into, and like we don't know it, like dude, literally like going over there and like working on Julian's car that he bought like at N style, and I'm like on the ground like doing XYZ, and like now he got us all like McDonald's, and
oh, how
I'm like,
wild.
dude, Nakamura like bought us McDonald's, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Like I like went over there, like, take my money. He's like, no, no, no. I'm like, what, dude, what the fuck is happening? You know, like,
Yeah, it doesn't seem real, man. Like those
no,
situations are just uh it's really great. Like I'm so happy that even with like technology, like even though like translator and shit like that are still like very like simple and rudimentary, like they're not all that good, but you can still like usually figure it out or make it work. Like you can make or have some type of communication between the two where like some sort of common idea is figured out. Like to think about something like that 15 or 10, 15 years ago seems to me at least like so impossible.
yeah. I mean, it was what like you go and try and find the latest version of option, and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Download some random thing on
oh
whatever
man,
media player you were using and
oh
hope
dude,
it wasn't a video you've already seen like 10 times or the
yeah.
same
Why?
clip.
I remember Kazal. I edited a bunch of drift clips that like weren't even all like actual drifting, like some of them were like trucks like sliding around and shit. When I was like 13, I downloaded a bunch of like random stuff on Kazaa and like edited them together in Windows Movie Maker and try to like, I don't even know what I was gonna do with it, like put it back on Kazaa or some shit.
You put like Sandstorm in the background and uploaded it to YouTube.
You remember the like 99 red balloons video that like,
Yes.
yeah, like I like tried to make one of those pretty much when I was like 13. And
That's so
I
awesome.
kind of lost drifting. Like I didn't really. My friend Dylan Agajan, he's half Japanese. His brother was like into cars. He bought a S13, and this is back when we partied a lot. I won't get into the details, but like not necessarily the most focused individuals. Um,
I
but
understand
like
that very
that
well.
was that was like kind of more like my priority, and I was into cars, and I thought drifting was sick, but I didn't really like it. Just seemed unobtainable. Like I didn't know what the cars were, and like you're like watching like a Hachi and you're like, I don't know what that is, or like FC, or like all like take your pick, any of the cars from the thing. I like a body kit to me made the car unrecognizable. Like when I was that age.
Absolutely. That and then
Yeah,
I'd see him like break like panel
yeah,
and I was like, "Oh my God, like that car is messed up now."
yeah. That
Like,
car's ruined. Like what
yeah,
are they gonna
like
do?
yeah, absolutely. Like
So I always like enjoyed the feeling of like sliding cars around, but I never. It wasn't until I had a coworker who had a S13 with like a two-way and coilovers, and like my friend did also, but like he didn't explain it in the same way. He didn't like let me drive it. He got the coilovers and the two-way like later on. He just drove like a bone stock S chassis for a while, um, which was sick. I mean,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
but it wasn't like it didn't like draw me in like driving one. And then I figured out like, oh, okay, this is why people use these cars. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I
like this
think
is
there was kind of like enough stuff figured out where like I understood. I was like, it was kind of the same. Like, okay, get an S13. Oh, it has like an SR already in it. Like, oh, that's amazing. Like, I didn't
yeah.
expect. I just planned on getting like a KA whatever, like whatever was available, and just
Did you
going.
did you drift it NAS? You said it was an NASR?
No, it was just like S13 red top, like
Nice.
so. But like I got it and like had to do a head gasket immediately. That's why the kid was selling it because it like had a blown head gasket. So to him, it was just like
Done.
Like yeah, it's like a wrecked car, like it's
Take it
done
to
for, whatever.
take it to the junkyard.
Yeah, so I had like a very, very limited skill set mechanically, but I was like willing to be like, okay, I think I can do this.
I
And
wouldn't have tried
like,
that, man. I respect you so much for that. I wouldn't have done it.
I was like, okay, get on like the forums. I was like, okay, Cosworth head gasket and Gretty rocker arm stoppers. I need those things. That's what everyone says that you need. So like, I remember like doing that stuff. Plus, like being from the Midwest, like we have pretty intense winters. So
Yeah,
anything that's rear drive, like
you just park it.
if you're well that stuff, yeah, but like dailies and stuff, you would slide around naturally just because of the snow and
Got
all
it.
the other stuff. So
Yeah.
like,
So you learn to counter steer. You learn like,
yeah, absolutely. And if like you're someone that's already like probably being a little rowdy as like a teenager or whatever, like
yeah.
you're gonna get yourself into some like situations where like, oh, probably end up in a ditch or like whatever's happening because like I'm not good at driving, so but it's fun. So
Yeah, I hit a curb trying to race a 3000 GT and like a Mercedes 190e 2.3, not 16 valve, the shittier one, the really shitty one. It's like 80 horsepower. And my friend who's not into cars at the time literally like would not he would not get in the car with me after that. We were 16 and I wanted to be like street race king so bad, dude, in this like terrible car. Open diff, blown suspension. It had like this is my first car. The driver window was shattered because I tried to pull it up with pliers because it wouldn't go up. And then someone broke dude, my front window was already broken and someone broke my rear window trying to break into it.
oh my god.
So I had this like wind tunnel generator like on the freeway at night and it was cold. I remember this to this day. My friend's mom gave me a Harlem Globetrotters windbreaker that I would keep in my trunk for when I had to drive at night because it would just be like
She was just thinking about you being
shaking
so
trying to get
cold
up.
on the
Yeah.
freeway.
Yeah. Actually,
That's
that car got stolen from my house when I threw a house party.
oh, that's so wild. Like
Yeah.
that's something I also feel like pretty lucky about. Like in some of like the bigger cities, I feel like there's a little more of that, but like getting stuff stolen or like really messed with, maybe I've just been really like fortunate and lucky, but like I haven't really ever had an issue with it, thankfully. Like, but I guess I never had like those hot ticket car, like for whatever reason, like Acura Integras, like
Yeah.
for like a minute where if you parked it on the street in Chicago, like it was gone in like 30 minutes or something crazy like that. Or like
That's
all
because
these,
that's all you need is a key to a Del Sol and you can start it.
yeah, like all of these things where it was just like, that's like, I drove the RX-7 to the grocery store like this week just because like it was nice out. So I was like, I'm just going to drive to the grocery store because like I can. And my neither of my windows work right now. So like they're just either up or down when I'm in the garage and jump the motors. So this is like it's so terrible. Oh my god. So I drove to the grocery store and I was just like, well, my windows are just down right now, so I'm going to go get groceries and like if somebody wants to mess with this silly thing, like I mean they can, but
Yeah.
like I'm not going to trip about it. Like it's one of those like go ahead and like start it and drive it away. Like I'm actually be kind of impressed. Like like
Like I'll be impressed if you can leave the parking lot in this thing
yeah, like
without hitting a curb.
or like the diff, like it sounds like it's like a sledgehammer smacking the bottom of the car is like clunking around. Like most people are like, I'm not fucking driving this thing. Like it already sounds like it's it's broken. Like
I had a two-way in my S13 when it was KA and it was a street car and I
mhm.
like drove it to work and stuff and like the looks on people's faces when you like weld a diff when it does the skipping,
Yeah.
always classic. But the two-way clunk,
Oh yeah.
mine was loud, dude. My two-way clunk was loud.
It
Like
shakes the whole car.
you're like pulling in the parking lot, it's like boom, 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 and like people's faces, man. Like I kind of miss like when you're like 20, that's the best.
Oh yeah.
I mean, any age, I guess. Like,
No, definitely when you're younger though, it's like one of those things. It's like you hear certain sounds and like you associate it with like kind of how gnarly a car is.
yeah,
Like how like and then you see it on the street as well and you're like, okay,
yeah,
this is like
yeah.
something else.
I kind of miss it, honestly. I wish I like don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I want to have like kind of a I want to have like a street car, and we have this vert, and it's automatic, and I have a spare transmission that I know will bolt up, but my girlfriend doesn't know how to drive manual. So between you and me, because
Perfect opportunity to learn.
I don't think she's ever gonna listen to any of these, is the transmission's like starting to slip a little bit, so I might just have an option. It'll be like we can either buy an automatic transmission
Or we just have this
or
one right
I
here.
have this manual one, and you can learn. And once that's in, it's like put all the supports in, and then I can stock exhaust. Makes like 150 horsepower, but like I don't know, man, it might be a little fun.
I'm sure. I like it's that's one thing that I definitely do enjoy is like being able to like street drive our cars. Like
Yeah,
we kind of take pride and like we have like little meets every month or whatever where we just like get French fries or milkshakes or
yeah,
whatever, and like it's something that we didn't do for a long time because all of our cars was just like, all right, we need to be ready for the drift event, like we need to be ready for this like track day, whatever's going on. So you get so focused on that you like almost don't enjoy the car on the street anymore because it is such
yeah,
a like it's so far removed from being like a stock car or something that is like livable.
yeah.
And it might have to do with me getting older as well and just like, man, I don't feel like dealing with like dragging this thing all over the city today, like
Well, and like when
uh
you spend that much time and money on it, you want to be able to enjoy it more.
yeah, for
I get
sure.
that. I
For sure.
I wanted to
It's
keep the I did the JZ because I blew up the M3 motor, the S52.
okay.
But when it was S52, I drove it on the street like everywhere. Like I drove it to work. I drove like with the flames, and like it was like, dude, it just put the biggest smile on my face. I like Apple's one of my. I'm not supposed to say that. Uh, the company that picks apples is one of my company. It was one of my customers at my last job, and I like drove it there, and I found out that one of the guys that I do work for, is like a huge Hoonigan fan, and so he saw
Oh
my
yeah.
car and he like shit his pants. It was sick. Yeah,
Like yeah, there's no way you would have that interaction with that person or somebody at a gas station or like just a random like I guess just interactions you have with people because you decided to drive it to wherever. So like that
yeah,
person is ready to tell you about like something that they own or something that it reminds them of or like something they got rid of because they were in a relationship
yeah,
or
yeah,
like so I appreciate and enjoy those like little conversations like so much. Like I don't know. It's
yeah,
it's because they're always so random too. Like I
yeah.
don't know, a lot of them like get off into the weeds and can turn into like a 30-minute chat with some random person at a gas station
That's
about like
yeah.
whatever.
When the cars are on the trailers and we're like going somewhere and we've been on the road for like 12 hours, and we're at some gas station, and some like whoever, some
Hmm.
chick, some dude, anybody. They just want to just want it like just nonstop. You're just like, okay, and I'm usually pretty nice about it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, reminds me of that story. Coming back from Final Bout West, when I like debuted my uh E36, like with
Hmm.
paint and vinyl and everything, when it was like stock motor. My car was on a hauler, and I had a second gen GS at the time that I bought from my friend. We pulled up to this gas station in the middle of nowhere, and there's this dude, like kind of like this like tweaker looking dude, but like I wasn't judging because he was hanging out with uh, John Ruiz, I thought. But we kind of like go over there and say what's up to John, and I catch eyes with this dude, and he is off the meth deep end, dude. Like he's been twisting puddles all day. I like, and me and my friend Alex Dalton, he like shoots videos and stuff. He was riding with me, and then my friend Matt Madrigali was driving. Was that the same time? Yeah, that was the same event. And my girlfriend, we're all in the car. Matt goes inside to take a piss. He has the keys. Alex Dalton and I look at each other and we're like, "Oh, this dude's gone, like absolutely gone, out of his mind. We should probably get out of here." Because he couldn't even talk. I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" He's like, no words. And he like comes over to me because I'm putting gas in the car, and he goes, "I want your car." I'm like, "Oh yeah, these are sick, huh? Like I've always wanted one of these." Like trying to like play it off, like trying to like derail him, trying to take my shit. And he's like, "No, I want your car." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, I love these. These are sick. Like I've always, I bought it from my friend." And I'm like looking for Matt. Like where the fuck did he go? Like we
not knowing how to like navigate like the conversation. Like
I'm like putting the gas thing back on, and Matt, I'm like, "Everybody in the car, get in the car." Alex is like trying to find Matt. We all get in the car. I'm like, Matt's like, "Well, what's the deal?" Because he didn't see the dude, and I was like, "Dude, get us the fuck out of here before this tweaker does some shit." And as soon as I say that, switchblade through the rear tire.
What?
Yeah. And like we all feel the like puncture, and then like the car like shakes a little bit, and I'm like, "Fucking drive, dude." And my friend's like, "Well, the tire's flat." I'm like, "Drive the fucking car." So we like drive. Alex Dalton jumps out and like flares up on the dude, like shoulders high, like gonna do something. And I've never seen Alex do that. He's like anime nerd b-boy from San Francisco, and like this is the Sunnydale came out of him, dude. He just like flared up on this guy. He's like, and I'm like, "Alex, get in the fucking car."
He's ready for a tilt. Like
yeah. I'm like, "Matt," he's like, "The tire's flat." I'm like, "I don't give a shit, dude. Like these wheels are like $80. Like fucking go, And so we take off, like completely like aired out tire, and like drive up this hill and like change the tire and get on the road and shit. It was gnarly. I remember we called the cops, and my friend Matt was pissed because he missed the Golden State Warriors game because the cops made us pull over and like do like a whole thing and like show us the tire. And I got subpoenaed in front of my house. I was like walking down the street. They're like, "You Palmer Sanderson?" I'm like, "What's up, bro?" And he's like, "You've been served." And I'm like, "What the fuck, dude? Like for what?" And I opened it up. It was for the dude's court date, and we all got subpoenaed, and they were all so mad at me because I was like, "We have to do the right thing. We have to call the cops. We gotta like report this guy. Like, what if it happens to somebody else?"
You were like going by the book, and now everyone has to go to court.
First time in my life, I'm trying to do the right thing. I tried to Spike Lee for the first time in my entire life, and it didn't play out. But yeah,
immediately backfires.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. That's my gas station car story. No one ever tried to steal your car at a gas station in Indiana?
No, not really. I like mostly like questions of like, what is it? Or like, I think that's most people are just kind of like perplexed. Like they don't like, what does it do almost? Like, cause you can't really like put it into like, it's clearly not like a drag car. Yeah. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then at the same time though, like,
where are the Hoosiers, dude?
Right.
Where are the Mickey T's?
Those ET streets. But yeah, so but then sometimes I get like completely like shocked, and it will be like an elderly couple or something like that, and like the woman would be like, "Is that a drift car?" And I'm like, "What?"
I love
Like,
that. That's the
like,
best. That's the
yeah,
fucking best.
yeah. Like, it's just I'm like, okay, like that's where I'm completely blown away by, I guess maybe how big the culture's become. Like,
Yeah.
it's been pushed into so many different things, I guess. I mean, to see like a commercial, like even like a commercial for like an OEM manufacturer. Like typically like the
And the car's like
cars,
drifting around.
yeah,
Like,
like it's the most exciting thing for a car to do.
yeah.
So like we're gonna show that.
It
So
makes a cool car look cooler.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like kind of unexplainable, but at the same time it's like no, it's doing something exciting. So like it
Yeah.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Like, sorry, grip drivers.
It's fun for the driver,
Dude,
right?
it's hella fun. But like as
Yeah,
far as like media is concerned, they can't be all fixated in one spot. I mean,
yeah,
that's why all the drift media people end up becoming the car commercial people. Like, look at Will Roge and shit.
y-
It's like
yeah.
it's like, dude, I've shot this scene like a million times already. Like, oh, you want me to shoot this Ford Mustang drifting? Okay, like
Yeah.
I've been doing that for 10 years.
I could do that in my sleep today. Like those dudes are
Yeah,
so talented. Like
yeah,
make the like most normal looking thing look amazing. Like
yeah. I don't know. I think I definitely it's always weird when you explain to somebody that you do drifting.
it's such a. I try to like steer away from that conversation a lot of times just because
Yeah.
like it can get.
So like, what do you do for fun? And you're like, car stuff. You're like, what kind of
It's
car
such
stuff? You're like, uh,
well, car stuff's such a broad like
yeah.
spectrum where it's like okay,
You say
like
motorsports and they think you're like a NASCAR driver, but they know you're not. So they're like,
that's
what do you?
usually what I just say. I'm just like motorsports, like, and if
Yeah,
they start to inquire a little bit, it's like you give them like little like carrots to kind of follow, I
yeah,
guess, to be like, this conversation I've had like a lot of times. It can like turn out multiple different ways. Do you want a short version, like the long version, the version that like I'm probably gonna talk too much about and like it'll just like you don't want to have this conversation for a half an hour. I know you don't.
you're like, I'll talk your ear off. You want to talk about drifting? It's fucking sick, dude. It's like the surfing of motorsports. It's the like,
Right.
you don't have to do comps. Like, you could just ride big waves and like be chill. You could just have like cool style and you know, as long as you surf hard. And, like, they're like, what? You're
Yeah.
like,
Whatever
never
analogy you
mind.
thought that was like perfect for it. And it's
Yeah,
just like, you didn't
we're not
actually
really,
tell me anything.
we're not really like the X Games of drifting. We're like the Thrasher of drifting, and they're like, "What's Thrasher?" And you're like, "I can't. This is not gonna work out." Uh, like,
Right.
I don't know, what kind of music do you listen to? Like Justin Bieber? Okay, we're not the Justin Bieber of motorsports. We're the I don't even fucking know how to.
Thrashers. That's a, but R.I.P. Jake Phelps, by the way. R.I.P.
RIP.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
Yes.
San Francisco OG. My girlfriend would always see him at Tartine buying very, very expensive pastries in the morning. He's not that's he's hesh, but he's not too hesh for a $8 scone.
Hey, man, a good pastry is a good pastry.
uh
Like you can smoke cigarette butts all day that you found on the ground potentially and just be like, yeah, like a skate hash. But dude, you gotta like your baked goods.
yeah. Like we live like 2 muni stops from Dolores Park, where they do the hill bomb every year, where like
Oh
Jake
yeah,
Phelps
yeah.
ate it. We live
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm like literally like a 5 minute drive from there, or like the train station is like next to my apartment, and it's like 4 stops to the top of the hill.
Dude, that event is fucking so gnarly. Like the
Yeah,
speed wobbles and like everyone's going so fast. It gives me so much anxiety.
I always
Like,
miss it. I fucking miss it every single time. Dude, I'm always like somewhere else in the country and then I like see it all on Instagram. I'm like, like, am I gonna fucking make one of these?
Oh, I don't know if I could stand around and just watch it. I'd be so nervous for everybody. Like, oh,
It's definitely like super anxiety.
dude, the whole like SF like hill bombing like phenomenon. That's
GX1000 kids, man. Those
dude.
guys
Oh
are
my
insane.
God. Like
I saw
the.
that there was like a Virgil for uh Pablo like literally next to my office.
Are
There's
you
like
serious?
yeah, all these kids like there was like literally like 100 people and like the you know the like big like dude from he's like the security guard for like the Thrash like the he's like the big like Thrasher security guard
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was there like making sure everything was cool and stuff and I was like,
Dude, those
"Oh man.
like seeing those kids like motivate me to do like things in what I enjoy. Like
Yeah.
pulling from different areas, I feel like are getting motivation from just all different facets of life. I think are so important. Like seeing like a certain piece of art and being like, oh, I might not be able to apply it directly to like my car or something like that, but it gives me an idea. Like you get that little bit of inspiration or whatever. But like for whatever reason, seeing like the youth, like
Yeah.
quotation marks or whatever, just pushing to a different level is like I'm like, all right, I need to step it up. Like it's like a healthy amount of like motivation and like honestly just like almost like envy.
Yeah. This is gonna sound dumb, but I watched the like Alex Honnold like movie where he like
The
free
free
solo.
climber. Oh my god.
I was I went with my friends who rock climb and like do they like climb Yosemite and stuff, and they were like, this is like fully insane. Like it would take me like a week to do that climb. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that they were explaining, and I'm just sitting there in IMAX like hunched over. But as soon as I left, like he like made it up and like all the anxiety was gone. I was like, I need to go drifting. Like I'm gonna go work on my car tomorrow. You know, it's like I always like see stuff. Like I watch the GX1000 kids, and like I know I'm not gonna go bomb any crazy hills. I won't. But it does like get me hyped to go drifting.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
I
there's
can't.
like on the art thing. Like I met this dope artist in New York. His name is James Evans, and like we follow each other on IG, and like every once in a while I'll like talk to him or whatever. But I bought like one of his prints, and I think his art's fucking sick, and he thinks drifting's cool, which is crazy because he's like some dude from New York who like probably won't even ever have a car, you know? Like,
Right?
yeah, and it's kind of this like mutual like
Yeah, like shared appreciation. Like, hey, like
I think it's an art form. I
I
really
think
do.
so. Like that sounds super cheesy and corny
Yeah,
as fuck, but I completely agree. Like I went to school for like graphic design stuff and like transitioning design and applying that to automotive stuff. I feel I mean, it does sound I don't know. I feel like it sounds corny to call it an art, but I uh, I believe it is like so much.
yeah,
I really do. Like
yeah,
and it's important to like show that part of your personality in your vehicle because that's what almost becomes like your trademark or I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
yeah. And I think that's what like a lot of other motorsports are missing. I mean, like some of them try and do it. Like it seems like Time Attack, they definitely try and do like some styling, but it's not. You know, like in Japan, they go kind of crazy with it, but it's not to the level of drifting where people just paint their car 2 colors and spray them themselves, and you know, like do X Y Z, and they're like, I'm gonna throw these mix match with like it's you're kind of just like free reign. You're not like limited to the bounds of the requirements of the sport. It's like you can kind of do whatever the fuck you want, which is why there's so much variety. I don't know. I don't the pro stuff. There's it's like hit or miss.
I get excited when I see a really good looking pro car.
Yeah,
Like
I do
I
too.
it makes me happy. I'm like sick. I'm glad that that person took or that team or whatever took the time to like really think about like how it was going to look and like I don't know. I just appreciate that so much. Like you
Cuz
already have all this
it takes vision and like
Yeah.
additional effort. It's like if if we wanted to go drive cars that looked okay, we could do that and probably have a lot more free time.
Yeah, right. For real. Like,
But I mean, it's I don't know. It's like yeah, that expression of yourself thing is pretty important.
yeah,
I
I
think
think.
I think that's what draws people in too. It's like
For sure. Like I mean, even like the mismatched wheels or whatever it is, like some of it comes from like a little, maybe not function, but like you can walk up on a
necessity
car, yeah,
sometimes.
and yeah,
You're like, oh shit, I
absolutely,
only had these. Like,
yeah.
fuck, I wonder if they'll work. And you throw them on, and you're like, actually, that looks pretty cool. Or
Hell,
sometimes it looks like shit, and you're like, fuck. Well, whatever. Like, I gotta try.
Buy something because you think it's gonna look sick in your mind, and then it gets on your car, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
Like
I've
I
done
guess
that.
I'm selling that.
I've done that for sure.
But yeah, like when you walk up on a car and you're like, oh, that car like tracks or that car drifts or grips or whatever. Like there's certain like little visual cues that you pick up on that like, oh, like this was done because of this versus like, and not hating or whatever, like everything has its own place, but like going to like a car show and you're like, none of this stuff really makes sense together. Like you just kind of
Yeah,
like put things on and like, I don't know, like certain things are kind of like
yeah.
giving friction against.
I don't think this dude's ever gonna hear this, so I'll just say it. There was this guy who had a like ISF,
Hmm.
and he had like he worked at like a vinyl wrap shop, and he had all these like carbon parts on it, and he like vinyl wrapped it like with like kind of like a motorsports looking livery, and I was like, why did you like this is your street car? Like why did you wrap it this way? He's like, oh well, like there's just less competition in the like motorsports category in car shows, so I'm hoping to win a trophy because there will be less cars. And I'm
Oh,
like, what?
that's like a nice car too. Like, don't
And I was
put.
like, dude, just I was like, Mickey, don't do it for the trophies, man. Like that's not what this is. Whatever.
Yeah,
That's his thing. He wants to win trophies.
right, right, right.
Go for it. But yeah, like the I I don't know. I never understood putting a lot of money into a car that's gonna sit or get trailered and
That's like asking the internet what parts you should put on your car or what wheels to go with. Now I don't do that. That like fucking just rubs me so hard the wrong way. I'm just like, dude, if you can't even pick out your own fucking wheels or like whatever it may be, like I get maybe asking technical questions and things like that. That's totally understandable. But like, come on, man. Like, fuck,
I
make it
mean,
yours. Like that's exciting. That's so much fun. Like,
I mean, it's hard. It's hard for some people. Some people don't have like vision. They can't like picture what it's gonna look like.
I
Like
get
even
that.
my
Yeah.
my girlfriend has like pretty good design aesthetic, but like when we were putting together this car, I was like, "Hey, these wheels are free and they're gonna look awesome." And she's like, "I can't picture it, so just do it." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay," you know what I
I
mean?
think that's also like having like a group of like buddies or like
Yeah.
not a team, but like I don't know, having those conversations with those people. But like that's
I
also
got
what
talked out of some really really bad shit when I was first starting out by my
we all
friends.
have. We all have. So
Yeah,
that's
they're like, "Yo, that's not gonna be good."
yeah.
And sometimes I did it anyway, and sometimes it worked out, and sometimes I did it anyway, and it was bad. It was really bad.
My brother and I have this like back and forth all the time where he'll like pick something or show me something and I'm like, dude, fuck no. And then he'll just buy it anyways. And then so many times it's turned out great. And I was like, see, I don't fucking know shit, man. Don't listen to me. Like, I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like,
I had a sticker bomb trunk on my S13 when I first got it because it was missing paint, and I was like, "Oh, sticker bomb! I got stickers. I don't know how to paint stuff, so I'll just try it out." Me and my brother just like my little brother. He was like, I think he must have been like 14 at the time. We're just like sticking like all kinds of like skate stickers on it and shit.
that
And it
was
came.
definitely popular.
I was like at the tail end of it, so I like really missed it. But I don't know. It was cool to me for like a month, and then everyone told me that it was ugly, and yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
You live and
That's
you learn.
well, that's also part of like, I don't know, the internet age and the Facebook age is like everybody has an opinion on everything. I'm trying not to be that person so much, but like
Yeah,
Like
Same.
everybody, like you are never gonna please everyone, so like at least make yourself happy. Like that's where I
Yeah.
get that. Like I don't know,
Yeah,
like
there's definitely some bullies out there.
all the time. Like they get so loud too. Like, and I
You're like,
think like from back in the day, like forums made it like where you
mm-hmm,
got that thick skin and you were
mm-hmm,
just
yeah.
like,
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, like, I guess now it's like the Facebook groups, but like now you know what people look like and where they live, right? Like back
yeah, like
then, it's like you didn't know what this dude looked like, and he was telling you like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and your car is ugly, and like and you're just 16. He doesn't know you're 16 because he can't see your
right.
face, so he's just like laying into you like you're a full grown adult making bad decisions.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I have $100 to spend. What do you want from me?
Yeah,
Like,
they're like, oh, why didn't you get the wheel spacers? Are you kidding me? Like, do you want to die? And I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm like, but I can't afford wheels, and I want them to be out more, and they look bad. Like, oh, dude. Yeah, I think yeah. If you didn't grow up in the forum era,
yeah, it's brutal, man.
you're
Especially
missing
now,
out.
now, like, and now I know where you work too. Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You mess around and like fuck with the wrong kid, dude. They're gonna come stab your tire trying to steal your car at a gas station.
right. That's what it was. It wasn't a meth head. It was just like a disgruntled Facebook. Like,
It's like, how could you? You didn't get Arc 8 wheels for your BMW? Yeah. I don't know. It's fine.
yeah,
Everybody's got their own thing. Like I try
absolutely.
I have like a close friend who got into drifting in the last couple years and he has a E36 and he's like, I got cool wheels, and I'm like, what'd you get? And he's like, Cosmos, and I was like, all right, sick. Like I can't do the I don't know, like 5 years ago, it would have been like, bro, you fucking doing like, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Like,
But it's
I'm
like, dude,
more.
if you like them,
Yes, hell yeah. If you like them
do
and
they
like
fit well?
you're
Cool.
excited about it, like to I want for more people to be excited about their builds and be happy with like what they're doing. Like that's
Yeah.
I'm happy that you're happy, and like
Yeah.
then let's like enjoy this like track day together or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the the idea of just like internet bullying all day long. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like an old grumpy person that just doesn't care anymore. But I'm just like, dude, I'm not gonna waste my time doing that shit. Like,
Exactly. That's
gosh,
why
that
that's why I left Facebook. I
like all that negative ass energy. Like, fuck that shit,
I just
man. Like,
argue with like you catch me in the wrong mood, man, and I'm just gonna argue with you to death. Like, now I like without Facebook, I don't have. It's not like as easy to do that to somebody I don't know necessarily, right?
that's the thing. Like, if you weren't given that, like not really a pedestal. I mean, a lot of people use it as a pedestal,
Yeah.
but like you're not like if it's somebody from a completely different place, you wouldn't talk to that person like that. Like most
Yeah.
people wouldn't to their face. Like you're just gonna go up to
Yeah.
some random person, tell them that their fucking car's trash because like you don't like the color or like
Yeah.
some arbitrary reason. Like
You're like you put mix match arrow on, like hang yourself, and you're
yeah,
like, what, dude?
yeah,
It's fine. Like they're gonna
yeah,
blow it up anyway.
right. Like
Let them make it one event. Like or like I don't know. I guess if your car is purely built for aesthetics and that's your main goal and it doesn't look good. I mean, to be fair, like sometimes those nudges push you in the right direction.
yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
kind of a necessary evil sometimes. Like
That like tough love.
I would have done some dumb shit if it weren't for literally like on the Slam Burglars forum, like Max from Gold Star used to be so mean to me, dude. Like, because I'd always be like, I'm gonna do this, and like now I'm super good friends with all of them. But like in the early origins of me like building my S13, they were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" you know. But I mean, it's stuff that you need to hear, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah,
But
well,
it's the way that you portray it, I guess. So like
yeah,
for example, I had Varstones or whatever the fuck they were called at the time. I bought them because my car got hit and I got some insurance money. And that's like
Yeah.
all that's all I could afford. I bought some stance coils from Hurt when he worked at Injuku, and he called me to tell me my credit card got declined. And he's like, oh, and I was buying another brand of coilover, and he told me not to get those and to get stance. I'm not gonna say which brand, but that's pretty funny to me.
Word.
Uh, and then I was like, dude, I never spent this much money before at once in my life. And he's like, like, dude. And I was like, dude, what do I do? And he's like, call your bank. And I was like, okay. I called my bank, and then it went through.
Hurt was like lining you up for like a line of credit, like having to get like.
I reminded him of that at Final Bout, because like I've hung out with him like a couple times between then and now, but I don't think that like he remembers that was like it's like it's funny, right? Like anyway,
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you come across like people that you're friends with on like maybe it was used to be a forum, now it's Instagram or whatever the newest like whatever is, and then you get to hang out with somebody in an event and maybe put a face to a car or a personality to a face.
most of the time they're really cool. I've noticed
Yeah,
like with drifting, it's like never meet your heroes like doesn't really apply.
I don't think so at all. Like I've had nothing but good experiences.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe any of the
But
bad
maybe
ones
that's
that I've
because we
had.
also drift. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, that could be it.
yeah, maybe they're like, oh, okay, you drive too. I'm gonna be nice to you.
That's always one thing I wanted to
Get
like
out of here,
have
kid.
like
I'm not signing your fucking t-shirt.
well like have like that good energy in the pits. Like I'm
Yeah.
always down if someone like comes up and they're like, "Hey, like want to ask about whatever." Like, yeah, sometimes you're changing tires or something's fucking broken or whatever, and like you might not be able to have like that long conversation, but like anybody that's interested and like cares enough to ask me something about my car, like I'm
Yeah.
genuinely happy that like they even give a fuck. Like like seriously, like it's like,
I'm
oh cool, like of course I'm gonna be nice to you, like thanks.
I'm the nicest dude until my car is broken, and then I like I can't. I have a hard time pretending, like, or I have like not pretending, but I have like a hard time like devoting attention to somebody else. Like apparently that's the case. I heard third party that I like was not nice to somebody when my car. But I was like, dude, I literally worked like 60-hour weeks like back to back before the event, and then like had to like do all this like crazy logistical shit to get my car there because I was like out of town for work, and I like got there and my car didn't work at all, and I was like gonna have a meltdown, and someone probably like asked me what my wheel specs were or something, and I probably was just like, I'm trying to fix my car or something, and they didn't like that. But
Yeah. No,
you
I
know,
try to
read your audience, I guess.
right.
But they don't know
But
my backstory of why I'm like about to.
like lose your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I try to think about that, like just because like I don't want that to be like the one interaction that I have with that person. Like who knows, they drove like 10 or 15 hours
Yeah.
just to come watch drifting or
Yeah.
to come drive, like if they're from another crew or another driver or whatever. Like, and we've definitely like I'm sure like you or whatever has like been rubbed the wrong way when like talking with somebody. You're just kind of like, man, that dude's kind of a fucking prick. But
Yeah.
then
The first time I met the dudes from Drift Union, Sean was super cool, and then I think his name's Logan. Dude, I'm gonna fuck this up again. I'm gonna look up his name. I'm gonna look him up, dude.
so okay, a little bit of a segue. I'm gonna like use the beginning of your story.
The
So
dude with the SC was a major cock to me, and I was like really like I like had my car there. I was like setting it up for the event, and I was just like, "Oh, hey, what's up? Like, I'm Drift too. Like, nice to meet you guys." He's just like, you know, fucking
yeah, okay,
hand tilt, walks away. I'm like,
yeah, okay, nerd. Like I was like visiting my brother and ended up seeing those guys drive at All Star Bash, I believe, and I was like hyped to see like a one color team, like because it was kind of a like not a lot of people were doing that in North America at the time. So and they were putting out like quite a bit of content or media, whatever you want to call it, And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, sick. They like made the drive down to like Southern California, and like it was just neat seeing people like dedicate that much effort and time into driving in a region that they're not from. And that was something that was like I really admired and thought was cool, like to see like you guys coming to Wisconsin. Like what? Like Gold Star, like so many of people, like
Yeah.
6 hours for us, like does not seem like shit. Like it's not a big deal. Like we drive our drift cars there. And then to see people like taking transporters full of drift cars like across the United
Yeah.
States.
It was a pretty cool story. It was like Corbin's boss. He worked for like a drag race team, and he just like let him take the hauler. And they blew out like 5 tires or something, some crazy because I think I don't know, maybe they're going a little fast, but like that's so sick. Like it was just one dude's boss like made that happen for them. There's no way they would have been able to do that otherwise, or they would have just drove it straight. Like Dom drove his car
What a
fresh candy paint
what a
through the
maniac.
snow.
Like when I found out he did that, I like just stared at his car I think for like 10 minutes straight just trying to figure out like how, why, and like just like I couldn't like really like wrap my head around it. I, like so crazy.
I think it's like 2,500 miles each way. So it's like it's like over 5,000 miles or just under 5,000 miles or something. When Jason does the drive when he's towing 2 cars, it's 44 hours of driving.
But like
One way.
doing that in a drift car, you like I feel like
Yeah.
do we need to set up like a GoFundMe for Dom to like get back surgery or anything? Like my back would be so fucked after that. Like
Oh man, I know. And his car is not low or is not high. His car is very low. I think he
yeah.
raised it a little bit for the drive.
Yeah, yeah. Like
But
when
still,
someone first told me that, I didn't believe him. I was like, no, he didn't. Like we were at the event and they said that he did. I was like, there's no way. I was like, look, all the arrows fine. Like it looks beautiful. I was like, there's no way he drove that from California. And then I heard someone else talking about it. I was like, okay, I need to clearly shut the fuck up because I don't know what I'm talking about. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like I could not
yeah.
like process it.
Tom's a
Like
savage. It was
ugh.
sick. I like met his brother at that event, and he was so hyped because him and his brother and his dad like did a bunch of the body work on the car because it was pretty gnarly before. Billy Sutton may or may not have crashed it on a skid pad when he borrowed it and like buckled the quarter panel pretty well and good. And it hasn't looked very nice since. And they all like as a family like brought it back. I thought that was like the coolest shit ever. I was so jealous.
Those stories are amazing. Like that's definitely one thing I feel that's a common idea or even not a trend, but like overcoming adversity or like cars that like most people would completely write off and
Yeah.
now like you turn it back into something like people admire or people are like excited to see and like, it's really impressive and like kind of like very inspiring honestly like to
Yeah.
have the fortitude to do that.
Yeah. I I didn't think when I stuffed my car into a wall and I was like, I'll fix it, and then I didn't realize like how broken it was, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And luckily like the shop neighbor I have is this dude from Hong Kong. His name's Wayne, and he's fully lost his mind, but he's also like super smart and really cool. And he brought over like a 1960s frame puller and like bowed to it, and we pulled that shit straight. And it's like I just set a strut bar on it, and I'm like, should be fine, you know. And my friend Alex like welded up all the like weird braces that I made and shit, and it's like it drives pretty straight. I haven't put it on an alignment rack, but I learned that from I don't know. I learned that from like my friends because like Julian and Jason and them have been doing it a long time. Julian's like, if my car isn't totaled at the end of the event, I'm happy. I'm like, all right, that's not everyone feels that way, but I'm trying to get there. So
Right.
like I remember like very vividly at one of the Super D Matsuris, I was having like a really hard time because I wasn't able to drive the way I wanted to because my car wasn't working, and I kind of just went like, I can fix it if I fuck it up. Like it's fine, you know? And like once I got past that, I think my level of like it like lowered my level of fear of damaging my car like another step. And once I got past that, I think my driving got a little better. It's like it's hard to explain and like put into like a metric, but
Almost just like a mental barrier. Like,
yeah, it was for sure a mental block. And it's like I have to get through it at every event. I go like, it's fine. Like everything's gonna be fine. It's not that serious. Like just go do what you came here to do. Like I don't know. I feel I have like sometimes a little like I want to be a cool car builder and I also want to be a good drifter, and it's like trying to balance those two. It's like when you're at the track, you just have to try and be a good drifter, and then you can try and be a good car builder when you fuck your car up trying to be a good drifter.
absolutely. I think I don't know for some reason like as soon as like the helmet goes on, it's just like like switch flips and it's like you know what you need to do. Well, kind of you need to you know what you need to do in order to like run the line that you want to.
Yeah.
Or like it's like less worried about like the car's well-being sometimes where it's just like okay well you know what I need to get a little closer here or you know there might be a dirt drop over here but that's gonna like either give me room to potentially suck up on somebody here you know what I mean like
Yeah.
you kind of play that game in your mind
I've never
and
felt as good that my car's in one piece at the end of the day than when I like drove my fucking ass off and like had some runs to be proud of.
yeah absolutely absolutely like that's such a good feeling like that and knowing like maybe like you like cracked a piece of arrow like you didn't
Yeah.
completely drive over like a skirt or a like you know what I mean like something
Yeah,
where you're just
yeah.
like all right well I guess we're doing this again like like having that internal conversation with yourself
Yeah.
but
It's those days when you drive really sick and you're like on a high and you're like driving home and then you like unload it and or you know for you fucking drive in the garage and then you like walk away, you're like yeah that was sick, and then the day that you go to the garage and it's all fucked up you're like damn it. Like
oh yeah you like want to like there's so many times where I'm just like I want to like kick the car into a ditch. I'm like I'm so fucking over this thing like god that's like I drove terrible the whole weekend. Like it was my fault that my teammate bumped into me because I fucked up, like or whatever it was, and you're just like, well, I mean, I can fix it because like both of my rear quarters were pushed in for a while, and it was like, like, uh, so kind of a funny story, I guess. We were like, this was quite a few years ago, but two of my teammates were living with me at the time, and we like got back from like a night out or whatever, and my one buddy was like amped to like push the 1/4 panel out. He's like, dude, you still haven't pulled that out? And I was like, no, I was just like putting it off. So we like opened the hatch and he decides to like kick the quarter panel from like while he's laying in the hatch to push it out. And I was like, see, I'm glad you did that. Like I would have been like all like overthinking it and like it wouldn't have been right. And it would have just like bummed me out for probably the next month because like it didn't go the way I thought it was going to. And then I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like after a refresh or whatever, like we can cover that up or whatever we need to do. But I was like dreading like fucking with it.
but for now it's good enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think yeah, learning from I guess yeah, the first time I had my quarter panel pushed in by somebody and I was like really upset about it on my S13. And this is when I was keeping my car at Matt's house and he lived down the street from Julian, and Julian's like, "Oh, that." He was like on his way home from work and he had like a mallet, like a big hammer and like a piece of wood like in his trunk already, and he's just like donk 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 donk, and it was out, and I'm like, you could do that. You know, like I'm like, oh, I guess it's not that big of a deal. So as
Well,
as I as I learn that you can crash and fix things, I crash more, I guess. Great, that's terrible.
sick strategy. No,
Yeah,
but like it, it just makes it, you know, not a like life ending's pretty dramatic, but like this thing where you're just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like,
yeah,
this is just the worst thing that could possibly happen, and it just seems like such a big deal. So like being able to like pop out a quarter panel or, do some fiberglassing or pick up those skills because you need to fix those things. Like you're like, oh, like this got ruined or this got broken. Okay, I've been down this road before. Like I know I need to do like XYZ and fix it because, it's possible.
yeah. I guess for all the 4 kids that are listening out there, if you crash your car, don't sell it. Just fix it. It'll be fine. And if you fix it shitty, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like
you
you're gonna fix it shitty the first like 8 times, and then you'll figure out how to fix it okay, and then better and better.
it's
I
all a learning process, like
Yeah,
for sure.
I
Like,
definitely had no idea what I was doing. The first time I ripped a bumper off, like it was like factory mounted, and I was like, "What am I gonna do? How do I put this on?" Just like zip tied it like 2 minutes. My friend's like, "Yeah, dude, what are you talking like?" So definitely a learning process. Now it's so crazy to me when you see people freak out on the internet when like a drift car like loses its bumper. Like they're like, "Oh my god, what have you done?" Like, like you idiot or something. Like there's a video of my friend Tao and my ex-girlfriend. They were in her S13, which was like super slammed on I think it was type 3 or BN. I don't know. It was like really low, but they like drove over a curb and it ripped the rear bumper off and like the front bumper popped off or something, and it was on like all the repost pages, all the like I like
oh,
it was on, I think it was on like one of those like clip shows, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, why would you ruin a car like that?" And it's like that clip got like 1 million or some crazy number of views, and all the comments are like, "How could you fuck up a car like that? Like, why would you try and drive up a fucking thing?" And it's like, dude, it was literally like 4 seconds to zip tie everything back on, and the internet like lost its mind. It's kind of crazy.
it's weird when something like that like just catches on fire and ends up with a millionaire and like it's something that like you've even potentially seen before. Like, oh, I've seen something like that 100 times or
Yeah,
whatever, and for some reason it just hit the right algorithm or whatever,
yeah,
and it's like on every repost page, it's on every like form of media or whatever. Like it's
yeah. Repost pages are the greatest.
mm,
Being positive.
yeah.
Yeah, they
uh
repost things that other
Full
people
of
have already posted,
original content.
and then sell you stickers.
Oh, that's just my favorite. Like,
Like,
oh, you're just a sticker company? Like that's all you do? Like,
hey,
I know, knocking the hustle.
yeah, can't be mad. Just don't buy them,
Oh yeah, like
and be wary of anyone who has those stickers on their car. So you said you have kids, right?
yeah, yeah. I have a son, so he just turned 17 yesterday.
Dang.
Yes, yes,
And
17-year
so,
old.
does he have a vehicle yet?
He doesn't. He doesn't. He's been practicing driving. He's actually been practicing like on like Assetto and stuff. So he's been like on the sim. Like
Whoa.
yeah, so it was kind of wild cuz he was like just like real unsure of himself at first because like he's grown up around like this his entire life, so like it was never kind of a big deal
Yeah.
like as far as like drift cars and that stuff. Like he never like I don't know like thought that it was something weird. It was just something like his like nerdy dad does. You know what I mean? Like, who
How
cares?
weird is that?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just commonplace.
Yeah.
So like, um, he was like pretty timid about it, but he's been practicing driving and stuff, and he's like getting more and more comfortable with it. Like, he loves Teslas. Like, he thinks he's
Sick.
like gonna get a Tesla. I'm like, hey, I kind of want a Tesla also, so like
Yeah.
we're gonna have to like arm wrestle over this one or something, like.
Like, yeah, I'll get one. You can drive it.
Right, pretty much. But yeah, so the older he's gotten, the more and more he's like been into like automotive stuff. Because for the longest time, it was like, I don't know, it was cool when his friends were around. Like, oh, your dad
Mm,
has this thing. That's kind of interesting. He's like, yeah, no big deal, you know.
yeah, you're like that. He's like, that's just everyday life. Like,
Yeah,
that's the thing he wastes time on.
yeah, 100%. Like. That, and like for a few years, like I dailied like a right hand drive car for a bit too. So
Hmm.
like when he was in I guess it would have been like the end of, yeah, like end of elementary, like that's what I would pick him up in, like just like a sedan, like a right hand drive sedan or whatever. And like it wasn't a big deal to him, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he's like, ah, just get in on the other side.
yeah, get it on the other side. Like
He's like, I don't know, it's like a mail truck, I guess.
he thought it was hilarious. He would take like a spare steering wheel or just something that was in the garage,
And
and
just
like when I would drive, yeah, he would like fake like he was driving in the passenger side, and he thought it was the funniest thing ever. Like, people would trip out on it. It was pretty good.
that's
Like,
pretty sick. I like that. I wish I had a right hand drive. Maybe when I have youth, tiny humans, I'll get a right hand drive so they can do that. I feel like that would be really enjoyable.
like it's another like when you're allowed to drive anything that you want on the street, like it
Yeah,
just like it's definitely, I feel lucky for that type of stuff. Like, no
yeah.
one around here cared. They're like, what is that thing? It's just a like four-door whatever, who cares? Like,
What was it?
is a Nissan Gloria.
Okay, sick.
So it
I
was,
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
like it was neat. Like, I really enjoyed driving the car and everything, but like to anybody that's into cars, like, cool grandpa car, man. Like, like,
But like something fast, and you're like, nope, and they're like, all right. Like,
yeah, like,
you're like, why is the steering wheel on the wrong side? You're like, because it's from Japan. They're like, why isn't it
yeah,
fast?
still, yeah, still nothing.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I want a right hand drive something. People keep telling me to import like a right hand drive E36.
That would be sick.
Yeah, but like yeah, then I gotta worry about like that's where the turbo is, all right? Like
Oh, that's right.
it's
That's
like
right.
it's nice
Yeah,
that it's on the other side.
yeah.
Um,
So you can just roast every steering component.
yeah, but I mean it would be cool. I driving right hand drive is hard. Drifting like tandeming or like fast drifting right hand drive is hard.
I have no experience in it. So that's like a thing. Like, even though I owned one, it was like an automatic daily blow, whatever. So like I forget a lot of times my brother's FD is right hand drive for like the
Hmm.
first year and a half that he owned it. Every time I would like go to his house, I'd be
You
like, oh
go
yeah,
down on
shit.
side.
I'd be like, shit,
Oh,
this thing's right hand drive. Like, I'd forget every single time. So like, yeah, having no experience in that definitely is something I'm self conscious about. Like, I want to like move the shifter on my Assetto Corsa, like on my Assetto setup, just to kind of get some of that muscle memory, because I just feel like I'm like throwing a baseball with like the wrong hand like the whole
yeah,
time I'm driving like right hand drive stuff.
yeah.
Like,
Switching definitely helps, but you got to do it for like a year or something or more. Because I did it for 6 months, and then I went to Japan, and I was like, what do I do? Like, what do I do with my hands? Grabbing door or non-existent door panel, grabbing fucking door sheet metal, and like, and it's so frustrating when you go to another country and you do get to drift and you're not good. Oh, like not, and by not good, I mean you're not driving to the level in which you feel like you're driving
Yeah,
like your best, which may not necessarily be like good or bad in comparison, but it's it's so frustrating.
I'm sure because you know how you want to drive, and then you
Yeah.
just feel like you go, and you're like, oh man, you just like let yourself down. You're just like, oh man, like I'm
Yeah.
really better than this. I promise, guys.
Yeah, I
Like,
was like fourth, third. I was like thinking about it down the whole straight, fourth, third, because it's like that. When I was driving, I got to do like 3 laps in New Zealand. I was like fourth, third, and I'd like throw it in, and I was like third, second, no, fourth, third, and then I'd put it in gear, and I'd be like flying off the track by the time I realized like what gear I needed to go in.
yeah, yeah. I've talked to like a few people, and are like, yeah, no big deal. Like, yeah, just drive right hand drive, a little
You
bit, and I'm
you
just like, what are you talking about? Like,
you
this shit
can
is hard.
you can drift. You can definitely drift the course. Like the shifting part is not that bad. It's when you have to have a very fast downshift, or you need to like e-brake correct, or yeah, see I did the wrong hand. It's this one. Uh it's like e-brake correction or like really fast shifting. Like changes like clutch, steering wheel, fine. Upshifting, no problem. Downshifting and e-brake is where it gets tricky. So
So
like like I
you
was
get
able to
those.
drift the whole infield in the car, but like that big turn at Hampton where like everyone's like coming in, that's like 4-6 final drive, fourth gear entries. So
Is that
like
where like tossing up the dirt, like just
yeah,
spraying like
yeah,
car? Oh, it looks so sick.
yeah. Brandon Strong like went out there and like did that line like first lap. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Dudes that do that shit, I'm just like, all right, I quit. Like, all
Yeah.
right, I'm packing it up. I'm going home. I
I
get
had a
it.
good one. I had a good one. I like threw a backy and I was like, "Oh, this is it." And I like went to downshift and I like did the same thing. I was like, "What gear? Gear?" I don't know. But got to practice, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's that I you just can't replace seat time. Like,
Nope.
there's no amount of like wishing or hoping or like paying money or it's. I mean, granted, there's some people that have just like natural talent. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they can hop in anything and just shred. And I'm very, very envious of those people. Like, that's
Yeah.
so impressive to me. I am
Agreed.
not that dude.
Agreed. I've seen some shit and I'm like I you know what? I need to practice, but I don't know if my practice will ever get me to that point where I want to be.
Right. And then not get down on yourself about it. Like, no, all right, I can do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all capable, but there are definitely some outliers with some obscene talent that comes from somewhere. There's like another gear. Like their driving normal is like me driving at my best, you know. Or they're driving like okay, and then they can go up like another notch and then another notch, and you're like, where is this coming from? Like, uh,
That's, yeah. Like, seeing that type of driving too, like, puts so much into perspective. Like, kind of when you told us about going to Meehan, like, I had expectations when we went there. I'm
yeah.
like, okay, everyone's seen the videos. You've seen, burst pat, like all of the typical Meehan things. Like
I watched a lot of videos and I was like, yeah, it's cool. Like I'm really excited to go there. And then when I went there, I was super excited and I almost didn't make it and it almost cost me my relationship because I had a meltdown in a rental car on the highway on the way to Mahon. But that's not the point. Uh, I got there and I like all of my expectations were so far surpassed. Like just and there was like maybe like 8 people there that day, and you're just like, oh god, like I need to drive like every week to ever be this good. So
it's so cool to see those environments like that. Like it's it's almost like going to like a skate park in a different place and there's like, a handful of dudes that just are killing this one section or like
yeah,
maybe not even a skate park, just like a big handrail or something, like something that you would not think of stepping to.
Yeah.
and just being like, okay, like this is how these people do this. Like there's
Yeah.
like this almost like culture inside of this place that exists,
Yeah.
and
There's
like
like hierarchy, weird hierarchy, but then also like if you're there, you're expected to try, you
yeah, you're
know?
doing it. Like
Yeah.
yeah, because I had like a conversation with somebody, and they're like, so like they're like, are those cars ever going to be lowered again? And I was like, I was like, no, like the fronts, like it's so they don't knock their aero off. Like this is all like purposefully done. Like
Yeah.
this isn't about being like this super stylized, like jam everything down to the dirt. And it's like, that doesn't work there.
Yeah.
So like the idea of that is kind of like, not even, it's beyond pointless. Like it's counterproductive in
Yeah,
that situation.
like Naoki's street car, he has like a K car that's like on the ground. It's so sick. It's like black on some like they must be like 17s, but on there it looks like 20s, and it's like hammered, like absolutely like scraping the floor, right? Like we all like that look. It's just that track doesn't allow it.
Yeah, it would be like going to a street spot that is completely tore up and you have the smallest wheels possible. Like you're
Yeah.
just gonna like catch every little rock. Like it's not functional to ride there.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's like not it's they do competitions there. They do there's it's just you can't do the line the way you're supposed to. That's it. Like if
Yeah.
you want to if you want to be competitive, and if you want to like be able to do the like line where you feel like you're gonna fucking die. uh I rode shotgun in that thing, and I literally have never been so scared in my life, like in a drift car or pretty much in any car ever. It's terrifying, and I wanted to do it so bad, and like I could not. Uh, but yeah, it's not a different thing. It's still the same thing. Like they still enjoy painting. Like they like painting cars. They like doing cool graphics. Like PS Taka is still like hanging out and showing up in his like high ace, and it's still all the same people. It's just they and also honestly like back then, uh, like all those pictures of the cars, like they don't look as high as they did because I think there was kind of like a renaissance of like really slammed cars.
Oh,
So
for
like
sure.
in comparison, they weren't that much higher than everybody else's car. And then there was like this like slam car era that they couldn't do. And so like all their cars kind of stayed the same, if not raised a little bit. And then coming from like the slam car era to those, it's like what are these monster trucks? But you know,
It's
shout out to Gravedigger.
right. Yeah. It just it's like it doesn't make sense in that situation. Like you're almost like missing the point
Yeah,
there. Like it's the idea of not being able to drive that line at that potential
yeah,
because now your machine is holding you back
yeah.
doesn't
Well,
make any
and
sense.
if you're trying to tandem with everybody,
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
you're the one who can't
At
take the
those
line,
speeds,
you're
like
like you're causing problems and stuff. So everyone just kind of like does, and also like there is like a ruler of that place, and then anything that he does, people kind of just do also. So I think there's some stuff going on there, but I mean,
I mean, I was definitely on that tribe of like, no, it needs to be this low. Like I was that
yeah,
way for such a long time, and like couldn't like get out of my own way, and like realizing like, hey, it's not only is it okay for there to be different styles, but other styles can also look amazing.
yeah. Don't get me wrong, I fucking absolutely love slam cars. Like I do not want to raise my car. I probably should compared to everybody else's. Like I think my car is still fairly low compared to theirs. Uh, like I raised the front of my car like a half inch before Final Bout West, and
It's It's funny
And
when you raise that half an inch and you're like, I did a lot. Like,
it looks great. It looks crazy different. I'm like, do I really want to do this? Like, I need like, does it even matter in my chassis? But then like I went and drove and I blew off track and my front bumper stayed on, and I was like, well, I mean, that saved me like $300,
yeah,
plus
that feels good.
for a half an inch of ride height. But at the same time, I saw pictures where like I'm drifting and the back of the car is super low and the front's like kind of high, and I'm just like, it's fine, everything's fine. But
I mean, it's a give and take.
yeah, I think as we get older, it's like I don't want to deal with that shit. Like I
Yeah,
just
that's
want to
definitely
drift.
part of it for sure. Like when I did the refresh on my car, I raised the whole car, and like it was something that I'm so happy that I did. And like so happy, like I've ripped multiple braces off the bottom of the car, and it sucks, man. Like
Yeah,
having to like cut back into the car and like make things for braces to now bolt into the body because you ripped them off the chassis. It's just like, man, I don't want to deal with this shit.
yeah, yeah. My
But
S13 was on the fucking ground on 17s, and it was I trying to load it on this trailer in the rain one time. I was by myself on a pot farm because I got to keep my car there for free. It's a long story. And I'm like trying to load it on the trailer and it's raining and I'm by myself and it kept shooting the ramps out and it just sat on the trailer and I like almost just quit drifting. I almost just got in my truck and like unhitched the trailer and drove away with it like half loaded. I was like, this is it. Like I don't want to do this anymore. But like it does look cool. Um, but I'm old now. Get off my lawn. I want to be able to load my car on the trailer after drifting all day.
that's where you get like the neat trailers that like, or you get like the
Oh,
ramps
I
that
want
work
one
just
so
right.
bad. Oh,
Like, I'm so envious of like getting like the perfect aluminum trailer where I can just like, okay, I stack 2 or 3 pieces of wood right here. We're good. I just drive it on. Like,
Nacho's trailer, my friend, the one that I borrowed a lot when he was building his car. That thing is so nice. It was just like I could drive on full aero. Like I had a system. It's like, all right, ramps on the back of the truck. I put trailer like helper bags in my truck, so like air those up to 35 psi, pull the ramps out, drive it up, hook it up, and like that was it. It was the fucking best. And then I borrowed this other like it's pretty much like a boat trailer. Has someone use it for like their quarter midget or something, and it had like has like crazy Earl like pinstriped on the fenders. I one of the ramps shot out loading up after Final Bout West, and I was like, well, good thing I have a welded diff, and just like drove it up and like made someone like hold the other ramp so it didn't fly out. And I'm like, this is not what I want to do, but whatever. Yeah, I'll get a baller trailer someday
right.
when I have space. I got to move out of the city first, or get rich, or die trying. I don't know. I don't know, man. I think we're good. We've done like 2.5 hours or something, maybe
Have
more.
we? Oh, who knows? I was like, has it been like 5? I have just lost in time. Like, oh my gosh, what have I said on here that I'm gonna regret? Like,
All your friends are gonna hate you, dude. You said high cars are okay.
I know I'm gonna get like all the terrible messages from everyone.
It's okay. No one who cares about that will listen to this, or they might. Who cares?
The
At
point
least
is,
your
do
car's
what
still
makes you
low. Yeah, your car's still low and it looks sick.
just do what makes you happy. That's the point.
Yeah,
Fuck.
absolutely.
Don't ask the fucking internet. Just
What
you
makes
do
you
it.
happy?
Yeah. Hey,
Because
internet, what makes me happy? Tell
that's
me, please.
that's gonna let you down every time. Every single time.
Yes, guaranteed.
Cool, man. I don't
All
know.
right.
I think this would be a good one.
I hope so. I don't. Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me on. I feel feel pretty privileged to beyond, you know.
Such a quality program.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's cool. I'm
Do you have any shout outs you wanna?
shout outs.
I mean, no one's gonna hear it, so it's
Yeah.
fine. But
Shout outs to all of the people that helped me on my stuff that uh I probably don't give enough credit to because I'm always losing my mind trying to get ready for things, and I feel
damn,
like someone always gets slighted or not slight. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I just feel like people fucking go out of their way to help, and I appreciate it so fucking much. Like
damn, man,
seriously, like seriously.
that's the best shout out I've ever heard in my life. Yeah,
All right,
shout
well,
out.
we'll
Same,
end that.
same to all the homies that helped me out that I don't give enough appreciation to.
For real. Like, I'll end it on that.
Sick.